Yo, check this rich player, cash flow thick, storage unit king, stacking brick on brick. Then these broke ass neighbors flip the script. Skinny old broad and her ex, a straight trip. She's rocking braids, playing pitiful and sad. Judges all soft like poor granny, my bad. He's flashing gas, threatening the rich man's dome. No sympathy for wealth, the cops leave him alone. She's a shady hag, junk shed queen, faking frail vibes, but her hustle's mean. Rate 50 fixed case, still crying broke. Judges don't care, justice is a joke. No tears for the baller, system's cold as ice. His reps getting torched, paying twice the price. They stalk, they lie, medias they flex. Rich man screwed, nobody's vexed. We see it. Yo, justice ain't real. Rich man's world, no pity, no deal. Poor acts the key, they play it so slick. Judge Slug, he's rich, who gives a lick? Scales tip hard, favor in the grime. Wealth's a curse in his courtroom crime. She's a con, he's a threat, they run the show. Rich man's pleased, they just let him go. Just let him go. So we watch this mess, truth's out of sight. Rich cats fighting, money drains away. No love for the loaded, that's the game they play. Justice stays blind cause the poor card wins the day. With the flood clip. She's a shady hag, junk shed queen, faking frail vibes, but her hustle's mean. Raked in this case, still crying broke. Judges don't care, justice is a joke. No tears for the baller, system's cold as ice. His reps getting torched, paying twice the price. They stalk, they lie, media's their flex. Rich man screwed, nobody's vexed. We see it, yo, justice ain't real. Rich man's world, no pity, no deal. Poor acts the key, they play it so slick. Judge shrug, he's rich, who gives a lick? Scales tip hard, favor in the grind. Wealth's a curse in his courtroom crime. She's a con, he's a threat, they run the show. Rich man's pleased, they just let him go. Just let him go. So we watch this mess, truth's out of sight. Rich cats fighting, money drains away. No love for the loaded, that's the game they play. Justice stays blind cause the poor card wins the day. Steve, let him go. We still, justice ain't real. Rich man's world, no pity, no deal. Poor acts the key, they play it so slick. Judge Slug, he's rich, who gives a lick? Scales tip hard, favor in the grime. Wealth's a curse in his courtroom crime. She's a con, he's a threat, they run the show. Rich man's pleased, they just let him go. 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 So we watch this mess, truth's out of sight. Rich cats fighting, money drains away. No love for the loaded, that's the game they play. Justice stays blind cause the poor card wins the day. He's rich, who gives a lick?
Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's me, I'm back. It's been a while, but I'm back. And Tug, you're here too. How's it going?
It's been a while.
That's what I thought right away.
It's been 7 hours and 15 days
since I live streamed about this case.
Oh
Oh my
I
God.
cannot even get over what happened today. So I had this whole plan. I had a whole plan for this live stream to be something else. We were going to, it's every time I decide I'm going to read Shara's Depot, this is what happens. We were even going to do a Rumble exclusive because I had some idiots to make fun of, and that's not happening tonight. No. We have 2 orders to go over, and no, they are not the orders that I was waiting on. They were not the sanctions orders. I still am wondering where the hell those are. What they are orders, though. Judge Bolitho has ordered a couple of things, and I'll tell you what, it's shocking.
Yeah, one of them is nuts, but you found something really fascinating that attaches to.
I did.
Woo, baby!
I did. We're going to get to that because I couldn't believe what I was reading, so I decided to check the judge's work because the judge's work always needs to be checked, right? I mean, if the judge is going to cite laws, you got to look them up. And I have done that, and I found something very, very interesting. Make sure you hit that like button on your way in. Make sure you hit the subscribe. If you are not subscribed, make sure you do that now. If you are subscribed, make sure you check that you're still subscribed because YouTube is asshole and they will sometimes boot you out. If you want to support the show, you can send super chats. You can send Rumble rants. Because we're live on Rumble too. Hey, Rumble Ghetto, what's going on over there? And also there's a live chat over on Locals, meganfox.locals.com. We have live chats there every day. I put stupid pictures of my dog up there and other things, the mural that my daughter's working on for me in my house because I had this dirty door I didn't want to look at anymore. And she has done an amazing job painting it. It's my favorite thing now. Isn't it great when you turn something that you hate into something that you love? So we did that while I was home for spring break instead of with my family at the water park. So make sure that you hit all the buttons that you're supposed to hit. And if you do want to support this show, gift a membership, send a super chat, or sign up at Locals, meganfox.locals.com. All right, guys, this is going to get wild. Tug, shall we start with the one that I thought was going to happen anyway? Let's just, because we can get through this one fast.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I figured this would probably happen, although I disagree. I think that, so the judge decided to set aside the judgment of default. Here we go. Defendants John Cook and Lynette Preston were personally served with plaintiff's complaint on March 24th, 2025. Accordingly, their responsive pleadings were due on April 15th, 2025. That deadline passed, and neither defendant Cook nor defendant Preston responded or otherwise appeared in the case. Plaintiff moved for entry of default, and the clerk of court entered default under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 55A against defendants Cook and Preston on April 17th. On April 18th, defendants Cook and Preston moved to set aside the default and requested 21 days to file responsive pleadings to plaintiff's amended complaint. And we have a footnote. Plaintiff's amended complaint has not yet been filed. Defendants Cook and Preston claim good cause exists to set aside the default because they are indigent, proceeding pro se, and involved in several other lawsuits with plaintiff. It's interesting they never said they were suing him.
Yeah. Well, not just, I mean, the judge, however, is aware of that. You know, he says, he actually notes in one of his decisions today that he's familiar with the case. You know, he's familiar with this. So in his familiarity, maybe he should be bringing up all of that. It's pretty fucked up that somebody is supposed to pay out 6 figures out of their pocket. But these people, they can do whatever the fuck they want.
I'm getting real sick of I'm indigent as the excuse for everything that has gone on in this case.
Well, apparently, it's more like the way I feel in this court, it's more like I'm in Florida. You know? I mean,
and by the way, when you look at their income statement that they put in, that is incomplete, by the way, they are not indigent. They have several $1,000s a month. And they did not include what they are making at her at that flea market where she has the trays and trays of all that jewelry.
They also didn't include.
She didn't put that in there.
The quote unquote gifts.
Nope.
They didn't include any of that. So I mean, all of that stuff is totally. Oh, it's totally jacked up. But even if you went by what they have, they also put it in. It amazed me. When you went to that filing and looked at what they filed, they said, well, the reason we can't do that is because our money is going to us building our house. Indigent people don't fucking build houses.
Yeah, and also, that is not an excuse for not hiring a lawyer. When you are building a house, let's say, and you get sued, sometimes you have to put your house on hold and go hire a lawyer. And everybody has to do that. Why these people are special? Because they're allegedly indigent is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's not even true. It's not true. What they keep leaving out other sources of income on the forms. They left out the flea market. They left out all the fundraising, the $56,000.
Yeah, fundraising is the huge one. I mean, you know, but we have no idea how much is made through outside sources. See, they're pulling a fucked up con. When you think about this, money is being directed through another party. It's being given to this party here, but they've said that they're doing all kinds of fucked up, shady stuff so they don't have to report it on their income tax anymore. They've said this stuff live. They already are telling you that they're pulling a con. Now they're pulling a con in the court too.
The Fleas said that they were taking the money, they were collecting it so that they didn't have to report it, so that Lynette didn't have to report it to the court. They said that out loud.
Yes, they 100% did. That is so messed up, beyond so. But that's also a problem.
She also the child's money that they're getting for just the child alone is almost $1,000 a month. Wow, has she really rolled in at this time? The last documents we had with her stepdaughter Ashley, she was getting $450 a month for that child when CPS took her away. Boy, she must feel very lucky now that she's getting almost $1,000 for this kid.
I'm just like, man, you know, they make more money than people. It just pisses me off, some of the stuff.
Well, they make a ton. They're making a ton of money with the. I mean, it doesn't look like they're indigent to me. These are people who don't have a whole ton of bills either. They're not living in a big house. They don't have a big mortgage. They paid cash for that place, right? That's what she said.
That's what indigent people do too, right? They pay cash.
Yeah, right.
For homes.
How did they pay cash?
Well, she has assets.
Land?
That's also assets. I mean, come on.
He's got a $80,000-$90,000 truck. How much is that RV worth?
It's just amazing to me.
Plus, he's got that big truck. She's got that Jeep. That Jeep is worth a lot of money too. And she bought it new. I mean, the indigent people don't buy new cars. This is ridiculous. Anyway, all right, where were we? Oh, I'm so hot under the collar about it. This is so nuts. What's up, my dudes? Hey, Flux, what's up? Flux sighting. If you have a Flux sighting on your bingo card, you can mark it off. Wait, wrong show. Doesn't matter. All right. Lost track of the date. Defendants Cook and Preston say that they lost track of the date that they were served. They also state that they are not ignoring this or trying to avoid responding, and that they intend to defend against plaintiff's claims. I looked up what would be an appropriate excuse for defaulting, and lost track of the date does not appear on any of the accepted excuses. I'm actually shocked that the judge quoted this. If I were him, I would have been embarrassed. I would have been embarrassed to put this on there as the judge.
Until I see this judge do something that, it's like, wow, with Bruce or anything else, I'm shocked by nothing anymore. I'm not shocked by a damn thing. Did anybody notice my thumbnail today? Did you see my thumbnail? Hold on. I have to show you my thumbnail because it's really funny.
Here, I'll just show you my locals post because you can see the thumbnail really good. Look at this is how I see the judge. Look at him. He's sitting there with a blindfold on, and he can't see the giant pile of money and the gun and the little child's teddy bear right in front. Look at the people behind him with their hands on their heads.
See, the thing is that Bruce has brought up multiple, like 123, for example, which he, interestingly enough, had to pay 2 L's to read the other night, which I thought that was kind of interesting. They wouldn't read it without payment.
That is so crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. So, in case you missed it, what night was this? Because I don't listen to their garbage.
I don't know if it's last night or the night before. It's one of the let's just say recent live streams.
Do you have the screenshot of that?
Give me a minute. I'll have to find it.
So during one of the Fleas streams, Bruce super chats them $50 to read a filing of his from like a month ago, right? At least.
Yeah, it's 123, which is
the one that he was whining about. I'm unsafe. I'm going to be arrested.
Yeah.
They never even read that. Like, why
Apparently
are they even keeping up with this case? What are they doing?
Well, it's interesting because when they're putting on the victim show for BBB, they didn't bother to bring up the whiny stuff. By the way, everything that's happening, I hope the ecosystem doesn't get this twisted. Everything that's happening is because Bruce was very, very well. He wanted to abandon his client. By the way, I got thinking about this too. They released their lawyer. So I don't understand the indigence argument at all. You know, if
I don't
I'm in
either.
a
Why
place,
would you release your lawyer if you're so poor you can't afford another one? You
yeah,
just
and
let him go.
I mean, you
A free lawyer.
terminated him. Yeah, you're like, screw you, buddy.
It's crazy to me.
Well, why are you rewarded for that in any way? So yeah, here this is. I got it. I just don't.
I don't know. I can't figure it out. All I can think is, oh, here we go. This is funny. Oh God.
$50 he had to drop on him.
He has to pay him $50 to read his terrible filings now.
Yes, and on top of that, like he's just sitting in the chat the whole time afterwards. He's like directing traffic, telling them what line is this and that. It's just fascinating.
It's funny that he's not on there with them, telling them himself. Like, is he banned from the show now? Is he not allowed on? Like, what are they distancing themselves from
Maybe
him?
Armenia
Are they not taking his phone call? Maybe Armenia has bad Wi-Fi.
Maybe, you know, the bad signals there. I'm just pro se. He's like, what?
Pro se what now?
Yeah. Well, it didn't surprise me about the default order thing. You know, I'm not giving them any free legal help. I'm going to laugh at every time. Again, the idea that they get wrecked on the narrative that they don't have to respond or do anything, you know, they can just ignore stuff. That in itself is a hilariously huge win, you know, like we were talking about the other day. But it's not shocking that you would have an order set aside like that. The way, though, what is being tolerated from these people is what's amazing to me. This judge, man, if he doesn't do something about the Bruce stuff that happened, then he's a lost cause.
Oh, now, yeah. I'm a little concerned that the further away he gets from his anger from that day, from April 3rd, the further away that he gets from his anger cooling down, from him not showing and all that annoyance and frustration he had that day, I'm starting to get concerned he's forgetting about it, how mad he was. I mean, that's just a human thing to do. He's got a whole caseload. He's got all these other cases he's working on. You know, I just
no, man. If I get to tell a federal judge, "Fuck you," I'm not coming. And he's like, "You are," and I'm like, "No, I ain't, buddy." And I don't show up, and nothing happens, nothing. And then I get to. He's like, "Okay, well, tell me why I shouldn't sanction you for this." And I file a thing that essentially, it not only argues with the judge and decisions that have come before, but it litigates the case in a way that it's so against the rules that it creates potential appealable error on the judge's part if he doesn't address it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the decision to this stuff right here anyway, like what we're looking at, the argument here, he did not address them arguing the issues of the case. That right there has created an appeals issue already. He has not put them in line. You know, with this and a certain statement that he said in the other one about his knowledge of, and we don't usually do this, but that's created a hell of an appeal. You could definitely appeal this already if something goes wrong.
Right. That's the thing that I'm confused about with this, is that I don't think that they had good cause, right? I don't think that this meets the standard of good cause. In fact, hold on. In fact, let's find out, because we weren't going to read this. There are exceptions. Okay, there are exceptions for defaults, and you have to come up with a good cause. And
they don't like to default a case out without hearing it on its merits, because it does. I mean, it takes away from your fundamental rights. You know, you don't face
right, but they
accusers.
had plenty of time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but there are rules. Yes, there are rules. That's the thing. So this judge, I think the statement about him not wanting to be the sanctioning judge, I think that's a really interesting insight into his mindset. You know?
Okay, so I did just read that vacating an entry of default is easier than a default judgment. So a default judgment hadn't been made yet, but the entry of default had been. And so it is easier to set aside the clerk's entry of default than it is an actual judgment, which had not happened yet. The judge hadn't ruled on it. Now he has, and he set it aside. But you have to have good cause, and saying, I didn't look at my calendar.
Right.
That's just willful negligence. It's bullshit. And the fact that he put this in there like it means something, they lost track of the date. Yeah. I would be embarrassed if I were that judge putting my name on this order. You should be embarrassed, sir. This is not good cause. And this is an appealable issue. It is. This is appealable right here because this is not good cause. This is ridiculous. Let's move on. They also state they are not ignoring this or trying to avoid responding.
I'm not even saying that is a appealable issue. What I'm saying is in their filings, they argue the case. They go out of their way, as pro se litigants, they push it as far as they can. And the letter that they wrote in there, they argue without Randy. He cannot respond to this filing at all. He can't. I mean, there's no setup where he can. So they've decided to pick up the microphone, read it, do a mic drop. That's not allowed. He should have corrected that. He should have said something about it. Without him doing it, if there is even the hint that he could be biased when a decision comes down, those are appealable issues.
Mm-hmm. A district court may set aside an entry of default for good cause. All right, that's the Federal Rules Civil Procedure. Let me see. Federal Rules Civil Procedure 55C. Let's look that up, shall we? Because I know that it tells you in here what the good cause arguments are. All right, let's move over to the actual rule. I don't like just listening to him just cite the rule and then not actually look at it
up. Yes, exactly.
Because I feel like we learn more when we look these things up, like the thing that I found.
Oh yeah,
we're going to go over.
A real problem.
There's a real problem.
When they're celebrating like they won something, they missed a key thing.
They missed something. Mm-hmm. Entering a default. When a party against whom a judgment for affirmative relief is sought has failed to plead or otherwise defend, and that failure is shown by affidavit or otherwise, the clerk must enter the party's default, which the clerk did. By the clerk, if the plaintiff's claim is for a sum certain or a sum that can be made certain by computation, the clerk, on the plaintiff's request with an affidavit showing the amount due, must enter judgment for that amount and costs against the defendant who has defaulted for not appearing and who is neither a minor nor an incompetent person. Well, they could have argued that.
That would have been it would have been an easier one.
That would have been an easier one. That definitely, I could believe that.
Mm-hmm.
By the court and all other cases, the party must apply to the court for a default judgment, and default judgment may be entered against a minor or incompetent person only if blah, blah, blah. All right. The court may conduct hearings, blah, 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 and they can investigate these things. They can establish, look at this, the truth of any allegation by evidence or investigate any other matter. Mm-hmm. Setting aside a default or a default judgment, the court may set aside an entry of default for good cause, and it may set a final default judgment under Rule 60B. All right, but what's good cause? It's got to be in here somewhere. Seriously, are they not going to tell me what what the definition of good cause is?
Good cause.
That's all I want to know.
Good cause. See good cause. You're like, wait.
Wait, where is it? I know it's in here somewhere. Are they really not going to tell me what it is? How ridiculous. I want to know what the actual rules are. Hold on. It's got to be in here somewhere.
I'm going to have to organize our fucking
not again
files. This is
Fed 2 files are crazy
it's
already.
Me off. Yeah, we're already up to 30. Really think about that. Like people who watch these cases, they don't. I mean, you can hear, oh man, this is crazy, but you don't realize how many filings this actually is for a federal or any case. Like you don't see 130. I can't remember the last time I looked at 135 filings in a case. you know?
God, I know it's crazy. All right, I found it. Key factors in establishing good cause: excusable neglect or mistake. Okay, is lost track of the date excusable? No, that's a mistake that a 10-year-old makes. You have a calendar. You're an adult. And here's how it defines them: clerical errors, misfiled or lost court documents. No, they didn't say that they did that. Miscommunication between the defendant and their attorney. Nope, they didn't claim that. Lack of proper service. Nope, they said they were served.
Mm-hmm. They bragged about how they were going to ignore it online.
Yes, they did. Now it says the courts are more lenient if the neglect was not willful or intentional.
But it was.
Losing track of the date that you were supposed to turn something in is willful negligence. You know what? How did you get away with that in high school when you told your teacher when you didn't turn your thing? Oh, I lost track of the due date. Did that fly in high school?
No, it did not.
No, you can't just tell your teacher, your science teacher, oh, well, I lost track of the date, so I shouldn't get, penalized because I lost track. They're like, too bad. Now you get half credit. But somehow when you're an adult in a federal courthouse, you can tell a judge that you lost track of the date and you don't get a default judgment against you? You got to be kidding me. Come on. This is crazy. Jeremy does not deserve this. The federal court ought to abide by its own rules. They are not abiding by its own rules. All right, here's another exception. Meritorious defense. A defendant must demonstrate that they have a potentially valid defense to the plaintiff's claims. And this doesn't require proving the defense, but showing that it's plausible and could lead to a different outcome if the case is reopened. Yeah, they don't have that. So,
well, they didn't show that. Their argument was fucking ridiculous. Yeah. Again, I'm not surprised that they didn't give them a default judgment. Judges don't like doing
I know
that.
They don't like doing it, but you know what? The rules are the rules.
Yes.
The rules, you cannot have a judicial system that has rules for one person and not another. And I guarantee you will find default judgments that were entered because somebody lost track of the date and the judge in that case was like, I don't fucking care. I have a calendar to keep, and your problem keeping your calendar is not my problem.
Judges aren't supposed to, again, show any favoritism in any way, shape, or form toward anyone for any buzzword or any bullshit that they throw out there. And that's a problem.
Oh my God. Examples of insufficient cause. Are you ready for this? Willful ignorance. The defendant received the complaint, but chose to ignore it, assuming it would go away. Lack of defense. The defendant can't articulate any plausible defense to the plaintiff's claims. Or unreasonable delay. The defendant waited months after learning of the default to seek relief without a valid explanation. There are two of these insufficient cause here that they did. They ignored it, and they waited far too long to even start making an argument. That's insufficient cause. He has got an appealable issue here.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy.
Well, it's nice of the judge to. It's nice of the judge to put that stuff in. And remember, if anybody's like, "Hey, that's just blah blah blah." No, remember, Grudge Judge. He was the perfect example of appealable issues that end up popping up in a thing. I'm not comparing the two judges. What I'm saying is, when you look at somebody and a judge starts screwing up, these are the exact kind of things that people get paid a lot of money to argue, against judges, and it happens. It actually takes.
I'm so disappointed in this judge. This is not good judging right here.
Man.
This is not good judges. This is not good judging.
You are way too kind to decide. Again, he hasn't shown us anything. I just said
it's not good.
I know, but in the past, I'm just saying, like before, you're always like, well, maybe. I'm like, no benefit of the doubt.
Because I do understand that there are times when a judge will bend over backwards to make sure that fairness is observed, which I don't think is the wrong thing to do. I don't think that it's wrong for a judge to try real hard to have the appearance of fairness. That's what they're supposed to do. So I do understand judges with these very easy temperaments, who let things go because they're wanting the administration of justice to be fair. And so I get that. It's frustrating to those of us who are like, come on, how do you not see this?
This guy should have wrecked Bruce for
Already.
his behavior. Wrecked him. I mean, and I'm talking about way before when he started arguing every filing that didn't go his way, he would argue with the judge. Not that he would put in something to disagree. He would file something and tell the judge, dude, you're wrong.
Oh yeah.
You're wrong.
He was rude. He was rude to the judge on multiple occasions, and the judge didn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
But
And
Randy sends one salty email to Bruce and he has to pay $4,000.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Not just that, his whole explanation for sanctions anyway was so ridiculous because you get down to it and what he's essentially telling Randy is, yeah, you've got to file this, but you shouldn't file a response. And Randy's like, well, I've got to file responses to stuff because if you let it ride and he decides against you, then Jeremy's just shit out of luck. You can't do that. As an attorney, you cannot not respond. But he's saying, well, was there this? Was there that? Essentially, I would have fixed it. Well, you can't assume that a judge is going to fix a problem or make the right decision ever.
No, you cannot. In fact, I find that to be a really bad judicial advice.
Yes.
Missing Nil Star says, this sure isn't fair to Jeremy. That's right. Let's actually talk about that for a second. Before we continue with that, I want to go over to Grok because I'm looking at prejudicial. Here's where I found the exceptions. Okay, so let's look at prejudice to the plaintiff. The court evaluates whether setting aside the default would unfairly harm the plaintiff. For example, if the plaintiff has relied on the default and taken significant actions, example, incurring costs, this may weigh against granting relief. Do you know how much money Jeremy Hales has had to spend on this case?
Oh, this guy.
He is over $300,000 now on this case. This is crazy.
Yeah, but see, Jeremy works hard for his money, so he doesn't count. Haven't we learned that in the courts and everything else?
Oh my God. It is so, I'm never ever going to say again, as long as I live, that, you can buy justice. It's just not true. It's just not true. It feels true, but this case has shown me it is not true. I feel like he could spend $1 million and not get justice. He's had such terrible luck with these judges. I don't know why. Look at this. This is crazy. Culpability of the defendant. The court considers whether the defendant's failure to respond was willful or in bad faith. A deliberate refusal to engage in the lawsuit. Ignoring court papers knowingly. I mean, good faith. Now here's how they got away with it. Good faith efforts to rectify the default, example, promptly filing a motion to set aside the default, can support a finding of good cause. That's the only way that they got this, in my opinion, is that they filed something immediately. And by the way, Marla, you're screwed because you still haven't filed anything and you're still in default.
Here's my question, though. Like the judge made the statement that he was familiar with being familiar, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, when you did that, would you make the same decision if you weren't familiar? Because that isn't justice. That's actually an available issue too. When you start making, being familiar.
Yes and no, though, because I think that it's judicial notice. He's allowed to take judicial notice of a similar case with similar litigants, and I think that's maybe not an appealable issue because
I think
they would consider it judicial notice.
When he's like having been aware of this, we don't do this, but
in this
I'm
case,
going to do this. Yes. Yeah. See, all of that together is a huge problem. I
feel like it's a huge problem, but I would be less confident about that being a good appeal than I am about this lost track of
I think we can throw it all together. I think when we were looking at it all as one giant argument, I think it's one giant appeal problem right here.
Look at this. Created. Look at the examples of good cause. Improper service. We know she was served. Attorney error. Nope. They didn't have an attorney. So, He didn't fail to file anything timely.
Things are fed.
Medical or personal emergency. Defendant was incapacitated or faced extraordinary personal circumstances. Nope. Hospitalization. Nope. Confusion over jurisdiction. Nope. Administrative oversight. A large organization failed to respond. Nope, that's not it. So no, none of these things, they did not have good cause. I think this good cause thing is absolute garbage. It's garbage, and I think it could be appealed. But, what do I know?
Judges are not, the thing that has to be brought up, I think, is good cause isn't whatever the judge wants good cause to be. That's not good cause either,
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. All right. So a district court may set aside an entry of default for good cause. And then he cited a case. A district court may set aside an entry of default only if the defaulting party can provide a good reason for the district court to do so. Good cause warrants a case-by-case analysis, including consideration of the following: whether the default was culpable or willful, whether setting it aside would prejudice the adversary, whether the defaulting party presents a meritorious defense, whether there was significant financial loss to the defaulting party, and whether the defaulting party acted promptly to correct the default. The only thing they did here was act promptly. The rest of it, they didn't have.
Right.
See also this case, setting aside an entry of default when there was only minimal delay, no willfulness or prejudice shown, and the party asserted a potentially meritorious defense in the case. Defaults are generally disfavored, as there is a strong policy of determining cases on their merits. Unless, of course, the litigants work for the state, then they get immunity and everything gets tossed out without ever hearing the merits of anything. Well, that's true.
That's just very true, actually.
Fucking true. That's just true. Like, unless there's no strong policy of determining cases by merit. If the government's on one side, there's a strong policy of throwing it the fuck out for immunity, which is a real problem. I know I'm deviating from the topic, but it bothers me every time I think about it, because we have no justice in this country. There is no justice. There's no justice for the bad actors. No justice for government bad actors, and no justice for these Otter Creek bad actors, clearly.
There hasn't been yet. I mean, Jeremy
Not
is
yet.
funny. Well, it's like we said, there's it's an uphill battle no matter what. When we were talking about the federal case at first, when we thought it was going to be a tortious interference case, you notice no, because even if he would have had a good argument, there is rarely any consequence for that alone, and I mean, with him carrying that claim, period, that's, to me, that's amazing that it's carried forward, because that's the hardest freaking one I've ever seen to carry forward. Well, maybe Rico's pretty hard too, but
by the way, Janice here just reminded me of something. Janice says she would never do this, but she so wants to contact the judge and tell him he's being hoodwinked. I know how you feel, but guys, again,
no,
never, ever contact any judge in any case, anywhere on earth, because it will harm the litigant in the case.
Yes.
And in fact, I do want to reiterate this today, because I was going back, I was reviewing some things, and one of the hearings with Judge Grudge, one of the reasons he was very angry with Jeremy was because he went into a tirade about how the court was handling all these phone calls and emails, and he didn't appreciate it. Courts do not like to get contacted by the public, and it's not the appropriate place for the public to contact. The courts are busy.
See, here's the thing, though.
You don't do that.
I think a lot of these bad actors, I think they contact, and then they're like, "Oh, look, it was actually them."
Yeah, I think that happens too. But I also think that well-meaning fans who feel like Jeremy's getting a raw deal or whatever want to tell somebody, and it's natural that you want to right a wrong, but you just have to know you cannot do that. You have to just, talk about it on social media. Write your nasty gram into a Google Doc and send it to yourself, but don't send it anywhere else, because you can't. It doesn't help. It hurts. It hurts the people who are trying to get their case heard, because it makes judges start to think that this is a circus, and they hate it, and they want it to stop, and they get So just don't ever do that. Ever. The court finds good cause for setting aside. And notice how he does not say how he found good cause or what that good cause is. The court finds good cause for setting aside the entry of default against defendants Cook and Preston. Here, there is no evidence that their failure to file a responsive pleading is culpable or willful. Yes, there is.
Oh my God.
It's
really?
right here. It's right here. She said she lost track of the date. That is willful. That is culpable. She willfully did not put it in her Google Calendar and did not set an alarm for herself and did not take any action whatsoever for 30 whole days after getting sued. She willfully did that. He's full of garbage. Judge Bolitho, this is a shit ruling. You should be embarrassed. This is shit.
This ain't the first one. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the first one that I'm willing to go out on a limb and say this is a shit ruling that's embarrassing. He should be embarrassed that he wrote this. You're embarrassing, sir. You embarrass the black robe. You embarrass the bench. There is no good cause. Forgetting, oh my God, if this judge, do you think that he would have said it was good cause for Randy Shockett to not show up at the April 3rd hearing because he lost track of the date?
Oh, no.
Anybody?
No.
What judge would allow a lawyer to say, I didn't show up today for the hearing because I lost track of the date? Is that good cause?
Well,
is that good faith? Bullshit.
He's also, you know, I think he's giving a lot of leeway for the whole pro se bullshit. And that's a problem. Like, that is a huge problem, you know. I shouldn't be penalized because these idiots over here won't spend their fucking house money on a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Defaults are general. Okay, we did that. All right. Only one day after the clerk of court entered default, defendants Cook and Preston appeared in the case and moved to set aside default. Thus, defendants Cook and Preston acted promptly to correct the default. That's the only accurate thing in this order.
Yeah.
That's it. This is the only thing. So he really should have just said, you know what?
Yeah,
Courts
timely.
are lenient. It was timely. And the rest of it, maybe she didn't have good cause, but they did timely try to correct it. So we're going to let it go.
I'm sorry, Judge. The dog ate my homework. Oh, it's okay. Let me pat you on your nasty little noggins.
Don't blow smoke up my ass. Don't tell me that that's a good faith, good reason to not show up in court when you're supposed to. I didn't write the date down. I don't know. I lost track of my calendar. What are you, 5? You need your mommy to set your calendar for you? Give me a break. This is like someone saying, I was late to work because I forgot to set my alarm. Those excuses are willful neglect. That's you being willfully irresponsible with your calendar. I'm sorry. This is something I would go over with my teenagers, right? You would punish your kids for something like this. You cannot tell me that they're allowing adults in federal court to act like this. But they are, because it's Lynette and John. They can do whatever the hell they want because they're indigent, poor, disabled, and they can't keep it. They can't understand a calendar. John can barely read. Or was it right? I don't remember. My mom died. My mom didn't die. Yeah, I'm waiting for that. It is unprofessional. It is unprofessional that this judge would even write this down. He should be ashamed of himself. He should be embarrassed. His law professors should be crying that he's sitting on a federal bench and he wrote this. Sorry, that's how I feel. All right. Additionally, and thank God I live in America where I can say that about a sitting judge, a federal judge. I don't really give a shit who he is. I can say it because I think this is garbage. Additionally, there is no evidence that setting aside the entry of default would result in any prejudice to the plaintiff. Well, did you ask him? Did the judge reach out to Randy Shockett and ask him if the plaintiff is prejudiced? I don't think so. Several other defendants do not appear to have been served yet. And plaintiff is in the process of preparing an amended complaint. Yeah, and speaking of that, how much money do you think it's costing Jeremy to have to continually try to serve these people who are dodging service? How much money does that cost? You think he doesn't want to have them served as soon as possible? I think I scared Tug. Tug's laying low until I'm done ranting. I can tell.
I'm doing.
No, you got a kid. It's either that or it's me screaming. Several other defendants appear not to be served yet. Plaintiff is in the process of preparing an amended complaint that is yet to be filed. Although defendants Cook and Preston have not yet filed a responsive pleading in the case, any response to the original complaint would be quickly superseded given the forthcoming amended complaint. Which is really neither here nor there, because the only thing that's set to be changed in the amended complaint, as far as I know, are the charges regarding David Helm. Nobody else asked for anything else to be amended in the complaint. So it only affects him, right?
Yeah, that's the way I read that. The way I read it, it wasn't file everything against everyone and amend the entire. It was just about specific complaints. That's what it says in it. It's against three claims. So he's supposed to file, and they agreed to that, by the way, just a note. When it was brought up, it was like, oh my God, the judge, saying, no, they actually talked about it. It says it in the filing. So.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy.
I again would like to point out how all of this is Bruce's fault. So Bruce has abandoned these people. He has left them to rot. So, of course, the ecosystem, again, will not credit him for that. But he said that he was going to be helping them, as a lawyer, not just in that one, but this too. But, of course, he had to dig himself in so far he became a litigant. And couldn't be part of it anyway. What the fuck?
By the way, it's a interesting thing to point out. I've never seen that happen before. That's another first in this case. That a lawyer who was representing a litigant then became rolled into a new lawsuit. I've never seen that happen.
Okay, so that is claim 6. What is it? 6, 12, and 13. I'm going to pull up the original filing while I'm ordering things.
Here, I'm almost finished with this. We'll finish this right now. Finally, there is no indication that defendants Cook or Preston suffered a significant financial loss in conjunction with the default. Oh no, they've just made tons of money. They've made tons of money. Don't worry. Yes. They are not suffering any financial losses at all. That's true. For these reasons, the court finds good cause to set aside the entry of default. Okay. Yeah. Anna Strand, I agree with you. I think $300,000 in legal fees is prejudice to the plaintiff. And these fees are charged to Jeremy for the defendant's forgetfulness is prejudice. I agree. And also, how much more is he charged now because Randy has to continue dealing with these other defendants that should have just been out by default?
Oh, it's going to be
accordingly,
it's quite
it is
a bit.
Ordered. Yeah, it's going to. You're right. It is ordered that the set aside the default. Blah blah blah. We have a couple of footnotes that I missed because defendant Hughes has neither appeared nor moved to set aside the default entered against her. The clerk's default remains in effect as to defendant Hughes. This is interesting. He's giving her a chance too. Because he's saying the clerk's
he's like, hey, you better reply.
Look at this, because he still hasn't ordered that she's in default. Once he does, there's no setting that aside. But he's saying the clerk's default remains. So he's giving her another chance. Plaintiff is reminded that since defendants Preston and Cook are proceeding pro se at this time, they are not registered as the CME-CF system, that's the electronic system, and pleadings must be served to them via U.S. mail. Here's more expense for Jeremy. More expense. He has to serve them via U.S. mail. And, of course, the certificate of service, that has to be delivered by hand, right? In order to make sure that it was delivered. So now he has to pay to serve them with every motion filed. This is crazy. How is this not prejudicial to the plaintiff?
Because reasons, I don't know. It's so.
Oh my God! I know.
It is. It's otherworldly sometimes when you look at this insanity and you think, what in the world is going on here?
Okay, Kieran has a good question, which is what happened to no more filing motions to the court? We are now discussing Fed Case 2.
Fed 2,
okay.
Yeah.
This is Circus Polymopicus is what we are discussing, Fed Case 2. It's Fed Case 1 that is the one that is the frozen for 30 days?
That's a good question, though. It is hard to keep up with the insanity for all this. Okay, so here, all right. So let me throw this up here real quick. So the order they keep talking about with the appeal, it was an agreement to make more definitive statements. Here, can you pull this up on the screen? All right, there you go. So it's more definitive statements on count 6, count 12, and count 13. So it's only 3 counts. Now, the 3 counts from the original filing, give me 1 minute here. Let me roll over. The original counts are, there's, I believe, 2 conspiracy ones for everybody, and then the specific. So the defamation count specifically toward Helm, that would be, having to flesh this out, like saying what that is and fleshing out. But again, it's all about Helm, because count 12 and 13 are the civil conspiracy with all defendants, but that would note his part in the conspiracy, because again, it's pointed toward him specifically, the way I understand that, and the aiding and abetting. So, I mean,
right.
Again,
they're asking, and it's a reasonable request. They're asking for specifics so that they can respond in a better way. Yeah. And that was, by the way, agreed on. They conferred, and that was an agreed upon order between Jeremy's lawyer and Helm's lawyer. They did what normal lawyers do. They conferred. They came up with a reasonable plan, and they said, okay, we'll amend the complaint so that we are more specific about what are the claims we're making against your client, David Helm. And so we'll see, how that goes. We don't know. That's going to be, I'm sure that's going to be entered in soon. All right. But then we have now you guys are worried about my blood pressure. You were worried about my blood pressure before. Wait till we get to this one. And don't worry, I took my blood pressure pills today. I've been very good about taking my pills. So I don't like, though, Tal, you know what I've noticed? So the blood pressure pills, they make me like I squat down a lot, right? To do laundry or whatever. Like I'm feeding the dog and I have to get down and get stuff out of the cabinet, right? I squat. Mm-hmm. And then I go to get up and I'm blacking out. Like I can't see. I think
not good.
Well, no, because my blood pressure is too low or something, right?
Well, are you having low blood pressure or high blood pressure? I thought it was high.
I have high blood pressure, but when I'm on the medication,
taking it down. How low is it taking it?
I think it takes it too far. Well, I don't know. I haven't really been measuring it. I guess
I would do, some tests of that, because when they gave me
test, Megan has become a fainting goat.
What's funny is when you started to laugh, you had a delay on it, and you really did sound like
a goat.
No, you sound like the Count from Sesame Street. You said, it was funny. I was like, "Holy shit! You're going full count. It's awesome." You're like, my blood pressure is 80 over. You're like, oh my god.
I really think that maybe I just need to take half. I think I'll ask the doctor.
That's what I was going to say. That Midodrine. So they gave me. I was complaining about. Well, this isn't working exactly right. I was taking 5 milligrams. They're like, take 10. Yeah, I took 10. I was like, my heart's going to explode through my eyeballs. This is not going to work for me. So, and they were like, well, there's nothing really. So I figured out, if I break it just enough, it's about, I'm going to say 7 milligrams is about where it balances out. So I've gotten pretty good at that. Yeah, you got to. Yeah,
I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the way it feels because it makes me also have to take a really deep breath and like I feel like nauseous for a minute. Like it's not good.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'm going to have to maybe take half. I think it's only 5 milligrams though. So, I mean, is 2.5, does that do anything? I don't even know. I'm going to have to ask.
I mean, you could test it and see,
That's true. I could take half and see if it's better.
That's what I did instead of paying like a freaking specialist.
Right.
A buku. It's fascinating, by the way. I do want to rant about this for just a second. So when I have a copay for a specialist, I don't think that when they go in and they write a note about how, hey, I read this EKG thing, by the way, and yeah, it looks okay. It shouldn't cost me another $100 fucking. You know what I'm saying? Like that should be covered by insurance. What exactly do they do? So am I just getting billed for the privilege of walking in the office nowadays?
Isn't that terrible?
It's weird. I went to the specialist, and every time I go there is an add-on bill, and I'm like, what is this for? I don't even understand. You read a test? When did you do that? You didn't do it with me. You weren't in there. You were only in there for like 2.7 seconds, telling me, hey, I'm going to refer you to this other person. When did that happen?
Have to pay the copay.
Yes, well, not the copay. It's the the meeting copay for a specialist, whatever that is, and then on top of it, they're like, oh, here's some more cost, and you need to pay part of this too. And it's like, what did you do? And what exactly does my copay include?
Yeah, Palmer's Archer Homestead says postural hypotension, change position slowly. But how do you do that from a squatting position on the floor? Like you just have to stand up. Like you can't slowly stand up. You just stand up. It's not like, I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't be happening. I feel like it's too much.
You do yoga. You know what I'm really mad about this thing? It's ruining my plans for Pro Say What. Pro Say What now?
Pro Say What? I know.
Come on now.
God. Okay. Here's the next one.
But they are still Pro Say. Yes, this is the.
Here's the one that is going to make me lose.
Oh no! But that thing you found actually might be amazing.
Well, yeah, it might be if the judge would actually care to look into it. It
will make a compelling argument, and again, if he decides to ignore it, you just stack up all the appeal issues, and you think, well, good luck with that.
This person is so funny. There's a troll in the chat. And Mackenzie Lee, by the way, you're making me laugh. Keep it up. This is funny.
You are a little bitch.
I love the typos.
That's funny.
I know. It's really funny. I don't
know.
You're a little bitch channel. Okay. You're a little, not you are. You're a little bitch channel. I'm not sure what this is trying to say. You are a little bitch channel. Okay. It's still funny.
That's your new name. It's a
bitch channel. Little bitch channel.
Little. Yeah.
Little.
Yeah.
I never understand why people who hate this show come over here and listen to it. I don't mind it. I mean, the algorithm doesn't know the difference between a hate watch and
I'm like,
love
hey,
watch, so.
Give me some more ad dollars. I appreciate it.
And you know what, Mackenzie, if you want to say anything else, make sure you send a super chat with it. I'll read them all night long. No problem. No problem. I will read that all night long. But I mean, I just don't go over and watch channels that make me angry. Like there's no point in it. If I think somebody is a see you next Tuesday, as I saw that scrolling by a minute ago, I just don't watch them.
Oh my God. That just made me remember the see you next Tuesday.
If the volume is off, how do you know to respond to me? The volume isn't off, you liar. You're listening. You're listening. You love it. Probably because there's no coughing. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe is that what concludes? Is that what counts for freaking volume off? You don't sound like well, you have herpes or something.
I wish my trolls were funnier. Like if you're gonna troll, be funnier.
I get a couple that are pretty.
Oh, did I show you? Oh, I got to show you this. Hold on, we have to take a break to laugh at a troll because this is so funny, you guys. I laughed so hard. So those of you who don't know, Nick Rekieta came back to the internet. He had a big show the other night, and it was very good. It was very funny. People enjoyed it.
And that typo in that order really sucked,
2 typos. 2. Yeah. So 2 typos in the clerk's order. The clerk made a typo, 2 of them, that caused Nick Rekieta to have an entire day of fake news-a-palooza.
I thought
ridiculous.
Well, people had folks in the courtroom. So there were people with, at least one person that we know of had somebody there. And on top of it, you end up with 2 typos in it. And it sounded very much like he was going to jail.
It did, because of the typos.
I was like, holy crap, this is bad. The
word of was changed to if, and the word compliant was changed to complaint. And so it didn't actually register with anybody that it said he will serve the 30 days if not compliant, because it said of not complaint. And no one understood what that meant. Anyway, so I wrote a letter to the judge. I've done this before for people, by the way. Anybody who, a friend of mine who needs a reference, right? A letter of support for a court case, if you're facing jail. I've done these before for people, and he asked me to do one for him, and I did. I wrote one to the judge because I don't believe that possession crimes should be imprisoned with my tax dollars. That's crazy. That's ridiculous, especially not someone who's just supporting his family and he's going through treatment and all this other stuff. There's no point. Anyway, but look at this. I was a fan of your show, which is always a lie, by the way. Whenever these start out like this, you know that they've never watched. But your backing of a lying Rick the Cocktail Riddance made me unsubsidized.
Unsubsidized? That's amazing.
I said, that's good. I didn't want to subsidize you. Get a job.
That's
oh
hilarious.
My God. I had so much fun in that chat too, because
that was a good one. Yeah.
The trolls were out of control. And I was just smacking them all night. It was fun. It was fun because they were so dumb. I know you can't even understand this. It's not even English. Lying Rick the Cocktail Riddance made me unsubsidized.
What people don't understand too is, covering that case. I covered it for a little bit, but then I was like, man, the circus that's around it, I just don't want to. But that didn't create any problems with like Rickade a lot. He was like, go monetize it. Fuck it. Just cover it. In fact, cover it. Maybe, you put out something that these other places, at least get the documents right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there was so much misinformation.
Yeah. Well, there were fake documents coming out at first and stuff. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then leaked documents that were sealed that shouldn't have been leaked from the court. Can you imagine if that happened in this case, by the way? Can you imagine if the court leaked? Someone at the court did that in Minnesota. They leaked sealed child protection records in that case. How sick.
I've never seen that happen. And
I've never seen it happen either, ever. I mean, he has had some serious challenges with this.
Well,
and sure, he's also brought a lot of it on himself. Everybody understands that. But he's also had stuff happen that has not happened to other people. It's crazy. All right. Here we go. This is the order that really, really bothers me. And there are 3,400 of you here right now. Thank you for being here, by the way. And I don't know how many of you are over on Rumble. Oh, there you are. There's a bunch of you over there on Rumble. It's good to see you over there. Hey, JD Corey, I see that you sent a Rumble rant. I appreciate that. Thanks for the 2. Says, so Google just lost on a big case, and that might benefit Rumble in its lawsuit. Rumble stock is going to be good at end. I hope so. I didn't know about that case, but I should look it up. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe and check out meganfox.locals.com. By the way, you can follow me over there for free at Locals. You just have to, if you want to subscribe, that's how you chat and stuff. But you can follow and see all the notifications. Like if you're not getting them on YouTube, Locals will have all the notifications and you'll see when I'm going live if you follow me over there. And you can do that for free, or you can pay $5 and do live chats and stuff and see other content. All right. Here we go. This is the one that's going to make me blow my lid. Is everybody ready? Put your earplugs in because I'm probably going to yell.
Don't yell too close to the microphone because I have my headphones on. Don't tap on me, sucker.
And mods, don't worry. I appreciate all the unsolicited medical advice. It's fine. I like to hear what people have to say. Some of them are good ideas. Like
good ideas.
Like for instance, this one. Chance NP Jody Child, thanks for the 10, says, Megan, do you think you're holding your breath when you squat? I'm thinking about that and I'm like, I have no idea. I have no clue. I'm going to pay attention to that from now on. Maybe I am. Maybe when I'm squatting down, I need to make sure I breathe deeper. I'm going to try that because that seems reasonable and like that might help. It says that can make your BP drop too. Yeah. Okay. Tug, wait to find out about the facility fee charge. Completely legal, though it seems shady. Oh, I don't even want to hear. I don't even want to think about that.
What is it?
The facility fee charge. Have you noticed a facility fee charge on your bill yet?
Oh, no, I haven't. But I'll have to look now.
Yeah, you're going to have to look because apparently it's a thing. See,
Oh
you
my
guys in the
God.
chat, sometimes you know things. Sometimes you know things.
Well, a lot of people, that's the thing with cases or anything else. One of the beautiful things about live streaming this stuff is any one of us can go and read a document, or any one of us can go talk about a subject. But you put a few thousand people together and you start noticing all types of things, and you start finding things like proof, like for example, indigents, which we're about to talk about. The proof of not being indigent isn't the work of myself or Megan Fox. It is the work of a lot of people out there. More and more people have brought up things. They caught things from chats, all this money that's being gathered, the messages from LP herself posting about how she's getting gifts, money that's coming in. So all of that together, that's it. Same thing, medical, anything. I appreciate that.
All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
Tug, let's take turns on this one. Why don't you start with the first page? How you feel about that? Feeling all right?
Good. Yeah.
All right.
Order. Defendant John Cook and Lynette Preston are currently proceeding pro se in this case. On April 18, 2025, they filed motions requesting court-appointed counsel. That would be Doc 25 and 26 for those of you playing along. They assert that they are indigent and have been unable to retain counsel to represent them. Unlike criminal cases, see, this spells it right out right off the bat. This is what it this irritates me. Indigent civil litigants generally have no right to be represented by court-appointed counsel, nor does the court have a budget to pay attorneys to represent indigent civil litigants. Thus, the court is unable to select an attorney and order that attorney to represent defendants Cook and Preston free of charge. And again, there's a C blah, 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 declining to authorize
compulsory assignments of attorneys in civil cases. The court may, however, in exceptional circumstances, exercise its discretion to request an attorney to represent any person unable to afford counsel.
This line right here, this line, I was like, what the what now? Because
now this, I looked it up. We're going to get back to that after we read this. We're going to do that at the end of this.
Yeah, so but I'm talking about well, when you read this sentence.
Oh yeah, the next one, 28 USC 1915 E1. But remember that. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Based on the unique circumstances of this case and the court's familiarity gained from presiding over a related case with the facts and issues involved. What facts? You know what? You know who the fact finder is, Judge? A jury.
We haven't even gotten to the point, though.
We haven't even gotten to facts. We're not even through discovery.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck is he talking about here?
What facts? What facts is he talking about? You mean the lies that BBB told you about being threatened and stalked and stuff? You mean those lies?
Well,
because
not
those
just
aren't
that.
Facts. Those are stories. Those are tall tales that you fell for, you idiot.
Well, even if he's him letting him argue that shit, not correcting it, and the document that led to this, the document that laid down we're just not only poor, indigent, okay, but X, Y, and Z is happening to us. They brought up Ohio for fuck's sake. They brought up other cases where they are not just, they weren't brought in and are facing litigation. They have been found guilty of stalking and violating. So if we're going to talk about facts, maybe, Judge, you get off your fucking robed ass and look them up. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. What we have not even had discovery in this case. The judge has not heard one single fact. He has heard a bunch of fairy tales He has heard a bunch of papering nonsense. He has heard a bunch of lies and a bunch of polymops and a bunch of polyflop nonsense and theories and conspiracies. He has not heard any facts. And by the way, in a jury case, he is not the fact finder. That's not his job. He is just the guy who is supposed to be looking over the administration of this case and making sure it gets in front of a jury. That's all he's supposed to be doing. He is not supposed to be finding facts at this point in the case. At no point in the case is he supposed to find any facts. He's not a fact finder. I don't know. We haven't even gotten to the point where
there haven't, like you said, though, there haven't been any facts presented whatsoever anyway. You know, there hasn't been any presentation of anything. We are to the point where you're arguing technicalities. That's really what, before a case comes up, you're arguing all the technicals. Hey, will this be allowed in? Will I be allowed to bring that? Which charges are going forward? It's not trying a case. So,
and
the
by
way
the
he
way,
presents this,
yeah, the facts and issues involved, all he has seen have been things that have been put forth to him by the defendant, which are not verified. That indigent status thing is not verified. And we know it's false. We know it's not true. We know she left money off. So is he really taking that indigent form as true?
Well, that'll interesting. That couldn't backfire in any way, though, could it, Megan? Not at all.
I'm so angry. I'm so mad right now. I need to breathe.
I think it's funny. Like Megan and I are polar opposites on a bunch of stuff for like giving people the benefit of the doubt. And I'm always like, I'm not giving him any bad. Well, maybe. No, Megan. No benefit of the doubt.
Well, I try to be circumspect about these things. I try to hold my fire, right? When for any judge, I don't want to come off the bat hating any judge unless they give me a very good reason to say, this is bullshit. You are not doing your job correctly. I try to be fair. Like, for instance, I always go back to Judge Carroll because I didn't particularly love Judge Carroll at the beginning of the Kowalski case. And I thought that he was pro-defense in that case. But I gave him time. I gave him the patience and the space. And he turned out to be one of the best judges I've ever watched. And especially when it came to free speech in YouTube, because of how he played with us and how he laughed with us, which is exactly the way a judge should behave when there's a high profile case. You can't be adversarial with the media. You have to just lean in. And that's what he did. He leaned into to our nicknames about his hair. He even put it in a filing. It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. If you guys missed that, it was an epic case. I covered it on my channel. There's a playlist called Maya Kowalski, Take Care of Maya. And it was an epic case. And the judge actually gave us a nod in an order about his hair. And it was so funny. And yeah, I try to give them space. I try to give these judges the benefit of the doubt, and I try not to go off the handle until something really egregious happens. And I'm sorry, these two orders, these two orders are crazy.
I would rather you not be black-pilled like me. Like, as much shit as I give you about it, I would rather you not just.
Well, because not all judges are bad.
I hate them all.
I know you do, but they're not all bad.
I hate authority. Man, I'm a freaking Southerner, born and bred. We are bred from go to hate authority.
Yeah. I mean, I don't love authority.
Remember your past, sir. It's like, all right. Yeah.
To me, it's like lawyers, though. Like, for instance, some of the worst people on earth I know are lawyers. Absolutely worst people I've ever met. Some of them are lawyers. But also, some of the best people I met, in fact, one who I had to call in an emergency this evening, are some of the best people I know.
I don't consider lawyers an authority, though. Like, that's they may be an officer of the court, but I don't consider them authority figure. They aren't like judges of the popo or anything else. Yes, they can be hired to go against me, but they also may be standing right with me. You know, he did not drop that hammer on that person, Your Honor. No matter how many videos there are.
He did not beat anyone in the face with a hammer.
That's right. Never happened.
Oh my God. Flux says, don't forget to like and subsidize. That's right, folks. Subsidize the show. If you like this show, make sure you subsidize it. Hit that like, send a super chat, send a rumble rant, join locals, donate a membership. It's great that you guys do that for one another, by the way. I do love the gifting of memberships.
Oh yeah.
It's great. Okay. So here we are. I just lost my mind over facts. With the facts that, of course, haven't been revealed and issues involved, the court believes it appropriate to request representation for defendants Cook and Preston under 1915E1. Accordingly, the court will direct the clerk of court to issue a notice to all attorneys registered with the court's electronic filing system. I'm going to make an ad for you. I'm going to place an ad for Lynette Preston and John Cook. This federal judge is having the clerk place an ad for them to get them requesting an attorney to volunteer to represent defendants Cook and Preston. Defendants Cook and Preston are advised, however, that this request does not guarantee them representation in this case. But we are giving you a leg up so that you might get one. They must continue to defend this case themselves unless and until counsel appears on their behalf.
This also opens up the door for, that shitty shystery stuff that Bruce was doing, contacting people behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be doing that all the time. He's going to go nuts.
You get caught doing some crazy shit, though. I really hope when you do something when somebody dumps these communications out there where you yourself have been shopping for lawyers for these people. See, he had the chance to walk. He could have walked with all these problems that he had. But instead. Anyway.
Accordingly, it is ordered that Defendant Cook's and Defendant Preston's motions requesting court-appointed counsel are denied in part to the extent that the court will not appoint an attorney to represent them and granted in part. Can't
appoint. That's the thing. He says not, which you can't, right, but he can't.
But granted in part to the extent that, and this is your here.
1 second. I was screenshotting some of the, the other night where we showed that screenshot of Bruce paying $50. I'm screenshotting the other part where Bruce is like, read this line, read that line, where he's telling them exactly what they need to do as well. Okay. The court directs the clerk of courts to issue a notice to all attorneys registered within the court electronic filing system and to publish it on the website. The notice soliciting a volunteer attorney to represent defendants Preston and Cook. The notice must state, quote,
now wait, before you read this. Folks, I'm telling you right now, this came from the docket. This is the order from this judge.
Yes.
Tug, did you send me something before the show started that Lynette posted this and said this isn't real?
No. Somebody else was posting.
Who did that?
Like, yeah. It was just somebody out there. And I was like, people think it's
Are you
fake.
sure? Because that was her page.
Was it?
Yeah, that was on her page. It was on the hold on.
Give me a second. Let me roll back.
Yeah, it was on the
because there's a bunch of people
verify
that, there was a huge argument.
Wasn't that the Otter Creek?
No,
that's not her page. Okay, that's somebody else's page. Never mind.
Yeah, they're just
saying
this is
like,
so what I was telling
people
you.
People don't believe it's real, but it's funny. It's so crazy.
Yeah, because when you look at this, I mean, it's wild because the judge is saying, "Hey, we don't really appoint people. We actually don't have funding for it. However, since I've personally been involved and know this case, I'm going to do this." And it's like, wait, what? What the fuck are you doing? I'm going to run free advertisement for you guys.
It's crazy.
I've never seen this.
This is crazy. I've never seen this. I've never seen a free advertisement written by a federal judge. He wrote this, you guys. Yeah. This is the ad he is directing them to put out on the electronic filing system on behalf of LMNOP and John fucking Cook. You can't even believe this. The federal government is advertising for a lawyer and also
in a civil matter
and going to pay for their expenses.
Yes.
This
How
nuts.
does this not show bias? How is this not a show?
I don't know.
I mean,
I can't.
I don't understand how you could not bring up a very clear and compelling argument after the fact that this showcases bias from go. If he decides something against Jeremy Hales, he says, hey, this case can't go forward on its merits. How do you not say, well, look at what this judge did right here. This judge said because he was familiar with my client in another case, he would go so far as to run a billboard ad and to knock off payments for these people. Where did he do anything like this for my client? Not only that, but these people, before he did this, they argued the case. I didn't even get a chance to respond to it. I mean, how is that not an appeal, a glaring appealable issue? Like, why would you do this?
It is. This is crazy. Now, do I think they're going to get a lawyer to volunteer for this shit show? Probably not. But I would not put it past.
Possible.
And it is possible. It's not likely, but it's possible. And I will say that Bruce will use all of his, fingers in the pie thing that he does and promising people pots of gold at the end of a rainbow to make that happen. I mean, look what he did with the Starks. He told the Starks, according to what she's posted online, she was expecting she's expecting millions of dollars.
It very much looks like she was expecting quite a bit. I would love it. Also, Stark, I think we should make something clear there too. If you feel any need to protect your client, that's understandable, right? There are many rules against that. However, Bruce is not your client. Unless you signed a document with him that states that he's not your client. So any kind of half-assed weird thing that he did that put you on the hook, you don't have to protect him at all. I hope he understands that.
I can't even believe this.
I can't. This case is unreal, man. Every time I watch this, some days I laugh, some days it makes me furious, but it is the craziest shit I've ever freaking seen. And I mean, 100%.
All right, the chat is confused, so we should keep reading because they're like, wait, listen. He didn't say he would pay for it. Yeah. Listen to this. Again, in paying, we're talking about paying expenses. Not like hourly rate. But that means
expensive, but still.
He is offering for an attorney to come in and be able to do this for free. It won't cost the attorney anything because he's going to give bench funds. Like, does he have like a petty cash box under the bench?
Essentially, when you look at bench funds.
Oh my God, is he going to give the $4,000 that Randy had to pay to an attorney for expenses for these people? Is it going to be Jeremy? He's going to fucking give Jeremy's money. I guarantee you that he's going to use the sanctions money for that. That's what bench funds are. I just realized this.
I mean, bench funds.
I'm going to have a heart attack.
Okay, let's do this advertisement. This is a notice of opportunity to provide pro bono representation in the case of Hales v. Cook et al. Plaintiff, the owner of a YouTube channel. Why is that in there, by the way? The owner of a YouTube channel. Why the fuck is that in there?
Why is it? You know why? It's an advertisement. And he's trying to entice.
Get you some advertisement,
He's trying to entice lawyers to take this case.
This is I'm going to hammer this a million times. But again, this is a biasing effect too. He's out there. He's like, you want to get you some acclaim? Go after this guy right here. You know? And that is the same shit that Bruce pulled that we know 100% was garbage. But a judge doing it? Well, you got to be kidding me. But plaintiff, the owner of a YouTube channel, claims the defendant, Cook and Preston, amongst others, quote, agreed to intentionally and maliciously participate in a civil conspiracy amongst themselves and with other individuals, the purpose of which was to commit towards of defamation per se, tortious interference with advantageous business relations. That'll be Doc 1. Again, that is our initial complaint. A defendant, Cook and Preston, are 2 of 10 defendants, and the case is currently in the pleading stage with an amendment complaint to be filed soon. That will be Doc 17, the Helm Doc, I'll call it. Public funds are not available for the payment of attorney fees. So, okay, see, that's again, they don't get direct pay. Expenses, however, limited funds are sometimes available from the district's bench and bar fund for the payment of out-of-pocket expenses incurred by an attorney providing representation of this type.
Okay, I found out what bench and bar funds are. You want to hear what they are?
Sure.
Here's the purpose. Let's see if any of the things he's saying match the purpose of what these are supposed to be used for. Bench funds are used to support activities that improve the relationship between the judiciary and the legal community, enhance court facilities, or provide educational and professional resources. Common uses include funding legal education programs like CLE, continuing legal education events, covering expenses for lawyer admission ceremonies or disciplinary proceedings, purchase courtroom furnishings, anatomical charts, portraits, or furniture for lawyer conference rooms, supporting community outreach or court-related events. Can someone please explain to me how giving bench funds to these two idiots in Otter Creek is going to increase the relationship between the bench and the bar?
Even that, okay, so we're giving our money to some people that have been in Ohio convicted of stalking.
And violating the order twice now.
Nice to know my money goes for convicted stalkers, not people that, again, they are indeed, I will make this clear, they are indeed innocent and proven guilty in a court of law as far as what we're talking about here. But when you're talking about your money going to someone else, you look at how many other folks, they have no help whatsoever as they get railroaded in the system. But our money goes to these people. Are you
And by the way, they were
kidding?
convicted in Ohio of stalking. They had an evidentiary hearing.
Mm-hmm.
They were found guilty. That is a conviction. They were found guilty. Jeremy has a years-long restraining order against them. It's several years. It's a permanent restraining order that was adjudicated by an Ohio court that they are guilty of that. And this judge is going to take bar funds that is supposed to go for furniture and helping the courthouse look nice and funding lawyers, and there probably goes to lawyers' substance abuse programs. I bet that some of that is what they use it for. And it's going to go to these two?
Well,
these two dumbasses?
It's fucked up to me that Jeremy Hales, because he has his YouTube channel, can eat shit on legal on these expenses here. He has to pay them. He has to pay for everything, including that whole rampage that Bruce has that we laughed about and stuff. You realize how much money that guy ran up before he got to bounce on this freaking system? It's insane, people. Like, again, when I say I've never seen someone paper a case like that, just remember every time you see Randy file, and he has to, by the way, think about that per hour. You think about all the time there, every time, like when you've had Randy have to respond is just stupid. And it keeps on keeping on. These people, they violated twice. I mean, they did it. They just keep doing it and keep doing it. And they're rewarded for it. Why would they ever fucking stop?
Why would they ever
been
stop?
given a payday. Jeremy has been a payday for them
they
at
have
a
made
level.
a ton of money off of doing what they're
and they're
doing
told
now.
up, none of your money is going to be touched.
And now they don't have to use their money. Yeah, they don't have to use their money for any of this.
No.
Keep this going as long as they want to. And listen to this. Requests for funding must be submitted in advance, accompanied by budgets, receipts, or invoices, and sent to a designated email. The court's consumer's certificate of exemption for Florida sales tax and use tax does not apply to the expenses paid with these funds. Did he send a request to designate these funds for this shit to the uscourts.gov? Because I've got an email here that says that's how you're supposed to do it. And also, you're supposed to have a committee that oversees the allocation of these funds, assuring that they're used appropriately. Was the committee notified that Judge Bolitho wants to give two convicted stalkers bench funds?
I mean, it's wild, though. But what it does is it gives me a little bit of insight into someone's mind, too. And it's we'll see what he says about Bruce. But I don't know. I worry that you will not have a fair trial here. I worry about it. We'll see.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I said,
I worry about it too. This is crazy. The only person who's been sanctioned in this entire thing is Randy. I can't even wrap my head around that.
Yeah. And I mean, there should have been more that has happened. I don't care if the judge is like, I'm waiting until fucking what? Christmas? First of all, he could have gone in, and when he filed that damn thing trying to litigate this case, he should have been set straight right off the bat. This is totally improper. You cannot file that. Bruce 100% knew it. That was his parting shot. And the judge let him do it. He let him do it. I mean, again, so many appealable errors. You know, the judge says, and the reason I bring up appealable error over and over again is because the judge's excuses for allowing bad behavior is essentially, I don't want to be that guy. He doesn't want to be known by the Bar Association as that guy. And he also doesn't want appeal issues. But both of those things, he is now, he's going on record just being an absolute, I'm just an idiot with this. Anyway.
This is so stupid.
And he knows, one other point, he knows that this stuff went on. Like we were discussing, if you think, well, maybe he doesn't know about that stuff. Bruce brought him in. He brought it in when Jeremy was in the depot. Mr. Potted Plant, who was there, so you know he's paying attention. He brought up multiple questions about Ohio, where he was trying to knock it down. He brought that up. He brought it up in multiple filings. He opened not just the door for it, but he said that they had been convicted in another courtroom of stalking and more. He is totally aware of this stuff.
Well, I don't know how, he has not been made aware of it from Jeremy's side. He has only been made aware of it from Lynette's side, where she lied and said that it was false and weaponized against her and all this stuff. It's not false.
It doesn't matter if it's false. He has no process where he makes a decision about that. He cannot overturn that order. You know, that's its own thing. We've seen that in other cases where he has no authority over that. When it's there, though, again, he has things that back it up. 2 violations on top of it. So it's so insane to me. You know, with that whole motion to vacate, though, where he put in the 123.1, 123.2, he noted there's a little section on Ohio protective order. I mean, it's called that. So it tells you that Ohio protective order does exist. Fuck, I'll pull it up, man. Give me a second here. It makes me mad because it exists. They've referenced it. And I mean, again, this judge, he should be doing something about it. But it's just a way. It's just a way to say, oh, well, you know, behavior. Oh, well, what's the problem here? So check this out. This is from one of Bruce's filings, by the way. See, he filed an area called the Ohio Protective Order. So it doesn't matter what he says in here or how he pushes it. He says that there is, you know, they've used an order. They've done this and that. Who cares how he spins it? What matters here, somehow obtained a protective order. Yes. So the judge 100% is made aware of that.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, all right, I'll get my rant there.
It's unbelievable. This whole thing is crazy. And by the way, I don't begrudge these people a lawyer. I think they should have a lawyer. But I think they should have to pay for it. They should have to pay for their own lawyer. I don't suggest anybody ever go pro se in any legal case because it's a stupid thing to do. Not that I won't like to watch it, but I don't think they should do it. They should just pay for a lawyer. But this is crazy. I've never heard of this. And yes, it exists. And I've found evidence that yes, in the Northern District of Florida, they can do this. It can be done and the court is doing it. But I want to know don't you have to do a basic investigation into who you're doing this for? You would do it for people who have a protective order against them, for stalking, for pulling a gun on him. This is nuts. This is nuts. And anyway, nobody has done any investigation into this claim of indigency.
Randy will respond. Well, there's only specific. You don't really respond to every judge's order that pops up. So I see people saying Randy will respond. Well, not necessarily with that. Now there is something you can talk about, but we'll bring that up in a minute because it is one hell of a caveat. Again, let us rant for a minute. Then Megan will bring up something that is really fascinating. But public funds are not available for payment of attorney fees. Limited funds are sometimes available for districts, bench, and bar fund for the payment of out-of-pocket expenses incurred by an attorney providing representation of this time. Members of the district bar will be afforded access to the electronic docket without charge for the purpose of considering whether to undertake the representation. Well, anybody want to rack up the all the filings in these cases? Get busy.
Yeah, get busy.
An attorney who wishes to provide representation may contact the clerk's office to obtain defendant's cooks, and Preston's contact information, and may enter the case by filing a notice of appearance after obtaining consent of defendant Cook and Preston to the representation. I think it was totally, again, if he was going to write this out, adding the YouTube thing was totally messed up.
Totally.
That is the bridge too far, Totally.
It's totally ridiculous. And it reads to me like an like you're enticing some ambulance chaser, some fame chaser to get his get fame out of it.
It reads like what Bruce
you're not going
to
get paid. Yeah, you're not going to get paid, but you will get on YouTube. You're not going to, anybody who looks them up, any lawyer who looks this up could make the conclusion, could come to the conclusion that, well, at least I'll get my name out there.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's
it's
what Bruce did.
For that.
Bruce did that. That's 100% how he got involved. And he told us that too. So, anybody that thinks that's not the case, well, again, and not everybody's going to do that. A lot of times the types that you bring in on that are some of the worst fucking types too. Fame whores, ambulance chasers, they're the worst. I don't mind, again,
and there's always going to be people like that. There's always going to be attorneys out there who will do it for they're just shitty. They're shady. And they will do it for those reasons. And you're just asking for it. He's asking for another attorney just like Bruce to enter this case. He's asking for it. Unfreaking believable.
This dude. Oh my God. It kills me what I see in that. They're like you said, they're asking for another piece of garbage. You would think he would have had enough of that. But apparently he enjoyed Bruce's company so much that he'd like another Bruce,
I just cannot. I cannot handle it. I just cannot. I don't understand what this guy's problem is. I think he has not been paying attention. I think he has fooled himself. I think he has fooled himself into believing that both sides are equal and that they're both badly behaved. I think that's what he thinks. Just because he had a disagreement with Randy on 2 filings. Meanwhile, he's going to ignore 26 filings that the other side made that are absolute garbage. This guy has not looked into this at all. I just can't believe he has, Tug. If he had, we would not be here right now.
I think he has. I think he just totally Florida, baby. Florida. Yeah. That's where I'm at. I'm like, man, can Jeremy Hales get can he get a fair shake in Florida? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I'm wondering that too. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna get to super chats. Do you want to hang out for a bit, or do you want to? Do you have to go?
Yeah, I'll hang out actually. I'll hang out for a couple minutes. My man. So.
Okay. All right.
Hey, wait, you didn't talk about that one thing though. Are you gonna read all that?
Oh God, I forgot. Okay.
What are you doing? Yeah.
All right. What am I doing? Okay. There's one more thing to go over.
I was like, wait a minute. I kept thinking there's something missing. Oh yeah, the one really big thing, the big caveat.
Right. Yeah. So here's the part that hopefully will come into play. This right here, 28 USC 1915 E1. Let's look at that, shall we? I have that ready to pull up. again, like I said, I like to check the judge's work. So, and you know what, frankly, I'm also disappointed that he didn't look further into it and ask for some evidence, right? Evidence would be important, you would think, to find out, is this person telling me the truth? Are these litigants, are they actually indigent? The officers of the court shall issue and serve all process and perform all duties in such cases, blah, blah, blah. Here's the part of the law that the judge is referring to. The court may request an attorney to represent any person unable to afford counsel. But let's keep reading. Notwithstanding any filing fee or any portion thereof that may have been paid, the court shall dismiss the case at any time if the court determines that the allegation of poverty is untrue.
So
did the court do anything to determine if the allegation of poverty was untrue or not? I don't think so.
No, they've done nothing so far. Randy, he's got enough stuff. And again, I don't know what he'll file or not file, but right there, that loads it up where he can be like, hey, you know what? These people are not indigent. You are looking at people that, again, they are not reporting income. And if this right here hits them, ooh, baby, that could be really, really bad for them.
Well, it's fraud upon the court.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's fraud upon the court. And I want to know if the judge even bothered to check it.
Of course not. He looked at the document there and he's like, that's it. That's good. Yeah.
That's crazy. And what even is indigence let's find out. What is indigent status? And by the way, all the channels out there saying indigenous are driving me crazy. Can you guys please learn how to say indigent? It's indigent. It's not indigenous. Indigenous. Means Native American people. Okay. Indigenous people who are the first of, First Nations.
Well, okay, so in Florida,
means
additionally,
you are poor.
Check this out. Additionally, there's a presumption that an individual is not indigent if they own or have equity in property or assets exceeding $2,500.
Oh, my God.
Holy shit, dude. So in Florida, this is Florida. So I'm asking AI, on that. Check this out.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking Grok that too.
Yeah. Oh, you got it pulled up. I was going to pull it up.
Yeah, go ahead. You can pull it. Yeah, pull it up.
Yeah.
Wait,
there.
let me take this off. Where are you? There you are.
So in Florida, indigent status is, I should put in indigenous.
Yeah, please. It's not indigenous. Indigent. Indigent. Those are two different words. They mean completely separate things. And it's driving me crazy to hear everyone say indigenous. Please stop. I beg you.
So indigent status is primarily determined by income and asset limitations. So assets come into play as well, 100%, with a focus on whether an individual can afford basic necessities. Again, that's where that's supposed to be at. An applicant's income, they must be at or below 200% at U.S. Department of Health and Human Services poverty guidelines. Additionally, there's a presumption that an individual is not indigent if they own or have equity in property assets. That's what I keep saying. Okay, these people had a home, they sold it, they had liquid. They had how much money? How many people do you know that are pulling down government funding, government assistance? They have that much capital where they have a home, they can sell it, they can go buy another house free and clear, and they're building a fucking house on the property. How? What? I don't even. It frustrates me to no degree.
Is there an income threshold in the Florida statute that you're looking at? Because the federal one is a little different, I'm being told. So federal standard for indigent status would apply to Florida Northern District. And the eligibility is that a litigant must demonstrate that paying court fees would cause significant financial hardship, preventing them from meeting basic needs. There is no strict income threshold, but courts often use federal poverty guidelines, which is $15,000 annually for a single person in 2025 as a reference. Is there anything that says there's like a?
We'll have to pull all the. We'll have to pull the court guidelines just to see exactly. We should pull all of those and set that up and make sure, with everything. I'd rather talk to a lawyer about it just to make sure, somebody that practices out of Florida itself and that deals with the federal court.
Look at the form asked for assets. Did she list
assets? That's what I'm saying.
Did she list her property?
No, they're not. They never list assets. It's like
they've never listed them. She's never listed them. What about her cars? Are her cars? She lists car payments, but she never they don't list like the cars they own. Those are assets. Even if you're paying on it, it's still an asset.
They're not reporting any of that secondary income, though. Any of that income,
they're not.
They're hiding. And again,
this is sources of income, including wages, benefits, and gifts.
Yes, gifts. Mm-hmm. That's 100% supposed to be included in that. In fact, when she was running her 501c3. Besides the questions of how does an indigent person who is struggling to make basic needs afford to run a charity rescue, which, would obviously cost money and time. How does that work out? Besides those kind of questions, money that would be brought in, money that doesn't go straight to the 501c3, that is absolutely going into their pockets, that should be reported. But for years, it's not been a problem. This stuff.
This is crazy. Listen to this. A magistrate judge or the clerk's office reviews the IFP application to determine eligibility. The court may grant IFP status waiving fees, deny IFP status requiring payment within deadline, request additional documentation, example, bank statements, or hold a hearing if the application is unclear or questionable. And listen to this. Under 28 U.S.C. 1915 E2, the court must, and that word is important, must screen IFP cases and dismiss them if they are frivolous, malicious, fail to state a claim, or seek relief from immune defendants. Must screen IFP cases. Has this court done that?
Ultimately, even if this question is cleared up, though, this does make me concerned about the case, because when I look at this, the running free advertisement and more makes me concerned that you can't get a fair shake. And again, people out there, if you think that Jeremy Hales is fucking 100% in the wrong, you are totally welcome to that opinion. He's taken it to court. He has not been allowed to present anything there. And as far as, if I see people that say, they said about this case before, look at finances between them, financial blah, blah. Okay, well, they could have stopped, man. They were given plenty of opportunity to just go the fuck away. But they didn't, at a certain point. It just amazes me that you do something with your life, you make something of yourself, and then somehow that's used against you in this weird flow chart. Oh, I hate it. Anyway,
this is so bizarre. All right, here's something else that's interesting. It says here, if the allegation of poverty is found to be untrue, the case must be dismissed. 28 U.S.C. 1915 E2A, with or without prejudice. That's a must, not a may, a must. This has to happen. This has to be called into question because there is false information on that thing she filled out. By the way, remember when John filled one out for when he was arrested or whatever? And he didn't put a bunch of stuff on his either.
Yeah.
This is something that they regularly do.
Yeah, they've done it all the freaking time, and they've gotten away with it. Again, it's like any of their behavior. They have been allowed, they've been given a free check, a blank one rather. A blank, I said free check. A blank check, I guess it is free too. It's coming right out of your pocket. But they've been given a blank check to do whatever the fuck they want. And they continue to do it, and they will continue to do it. One of the things that I have to say with Jeremy, once again, if people like or dislike that, that's their prerogative. But this guy is finally not kicking the can down the road. Most people have kicked this problem with these people down the road. Everywhere you have reports that there have been issues.
cease and desist,
yeah,
signs, defamatory signs, not just about Jeremy. These are other people in Northport who said there were signs that were gross and, about politics and whatnot. And having to issue cease and desist, harassment, Facebook harassment, writing false things about them on Facebook. These people have a long history of this. Jeremy is the first person to say no more. You will not do this with me, and now I'm going to make you accountable for it. This is crazy to me that they continue to keep getting away with this same behavior over and over and over. It's like nobody ever looks into their background. Nobody ever checks into their story. They just take them at their word. And I can't stand it anymore. I know too much about this case. I've seen too much. I've had enough.
Well, I've also seen the flies that are attracted to this case. Some of them, again, the fame whores and that's one thing. But some of the other people, the paint chips, for example, these are bad people. These are very bad people. Paint chips is a very bad person.
We got a guy who rips off elderly hurricane victims. Is a part of this. Several of them. I haven't even read the new the arrest that I have. I haven't even read that one. Another complaint. I mean, there's just too many of them. Like at some point, it's like, how many more of these do we need before we know what kind of people these are? We got a serial eviction. It's this woman who gets evicted 8 times, 6, 7, 8 times because she squats in apartments and doesn't pay her bills. These are very unethical, immoral people who act outside of the law, and they're all flocking together to con each other and the audience and make money out of it. It's crazy.
They have made
I've never seen
hell of a lot of money. They have made a fuck ton of money.
I got to give them credit for it. They're better at this than I thought.
Well, no, they found a couple of whales out there. That was their thing, David the donor, man. And you know what? They've allowed them even after he's like, hey, I've been scammed. David the donor just doesn't have the balls enough to go out and do something about it. I mean, let me just be frank about that. You do not have the balls to do anything about it, sir. You sit on your hands and you whine and complain in chats, but you don't do shit about it. They make hate videos about you and they laugh at you. They laugh that they took your money and you don't do anything. So
it's terrible. I will say there's an argument going on in chat. I love to see that you guys are debating this. Actually, I think it's a good debate to have. Somebody wanted to know, what does it matter if he says that he's a YouTuber? He is a YouTuber, and this whole case is about YouTube. No, it's not. It's not about YouTube.
It's not about YouTube at all.
It's about a business owner who is being tortiously interfered with. It is about a business owner who is alleging that there's a conspiracy to take down his business. And it doesn't matter what that business is. And by using YouTube, okay, by the way, YouTube and these cases surrounding YouTube, like lawsuits between YouTubers, this is a very new type of case. And it's going to, at some point, there will be precedent-setting case law that has to do with YouTube. I don't know if it'll be this case or another one, but it's coming. Because courts don't know how to deal with it. But lawyers, on the other hand, they are very hungry to get this settled one way or the other. Okay, this is a big deal.
Because he's essentially, instead of Jeremy Hales being what they've painted out here, Jeremy, YouTuber, blah, 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 versus Lynette Preston, John Cook, indigent. Does this not paint a picture in your mind?
Yes, it does.
I mean, that is not part of the fact of the case. It doesn't matter that he's a YouTuber.
It doesn't.
In fact, it's wild.
And anyway, they're not just going after his YouTube channel. They're going after his auction business. They're going after whatnot. They're going after his teaching job. They're going after his properties in Cedar Key. They're going after every single thing this man does. This is not about YouTube. That's their spin on it. That's how they're trying to make it seem. It is not. It is about tortiously interfering with somebody's business. It is about defamation. This is a defamation case. It is not a YouTube case. And by putting that out there,
was that required? Did you need that? Was it necessary to convey what this case was about?
No, all he needed to say was that he's a business owner, period. He does not need to put in there that this is a high-profile YouTube case, basically.
Here's you
is
a
what he's
piggy
saying.
bank, little piglets. Get in there, roll around, maybe get you a payday.
You know. That's exactly what is happening. Is it's a call for the pigs to come to the trough.
Yeah, so they can get them a little bit more. Oh man, you want to go after somebody and get your money? I'm your man. You know, this has been the one thing I hope those little piggies, like when they say that, I hope they realize like every one of these assholes gets turned on. Every one of them, whether you're a good guy, bad guy, doesn't matter. Guy, you work for them, you work for the other side, doesn't matter. They will turn on you. They have turned on everyone. So, you know, it's not an if, it's a win.
I am so annoyed. All right, I got to get to these super chats because
I'm
gonna
bounce for a little bit.
Okay. All right, you go. It was good to be back, though. Thanks for being here.
It's got to feel good. Oh no, I'm glad to be here. You know, tomorrow we'll pick it up. I'll get in a roll. You know, I got to get back to this phone. But anyway, appreciate you folks. We will see you tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, let me say this real fast. We had 10 more packages pop up for the kids today. So thank you all.
Oh, that's cool.
I've been photographing everything and I will address that on my channel. But I do appreciate all of you. But anyway, appreciate you. See you tomorrow.
All right. Bye, Tug. All right, guys. Let's get to... Let's see. AM. What is this? Hold on. I'm trying to figure out my redirect. What is the date today? Oh, that's the 23rd. Okay. Who's live tonight? Before I get to super chats, I want to make sure I have the redirect set up. Is Shizzy going to be live tonight? I'm checking. Hold, please. No, that's right. He was going on MG tonight. Okay, I'll put you over to MG Law after we're done here. I think he goes live at 11 something. Yeah. They're having the men's show called Derailed tonight with Shizzy's going to be on and MG Law is going to be on. So I will redirect you guys over there. All right, let's get to the super chats, shall we? Taz67 Invader gifted a bunch of Megan Fox memberships. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Fox Den, all of you who got those. It is weird here, but you'll get used to it. Lori Netzel gifted 5 Megan Fox memberships. Thank Lori, all 5 of you who got those. It is so great to have you here in the Fox Den. Wender Bender gifted 5 more memberships. Wow, what a start to the evening. My goodness. Bonnie Heron, a member for 2 months, says Megalodon's foe is back. Hello, Tug. That's right. I'm back. Vicky Brushwood, thanks to the 5. Glad you're here tonight. Thanks. I'm glad you're here too. It's good to see you guys. I love chatting with you. You guys always have such good insights. Fallen Hero 4567 gifted 1 Megan Fox membership. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Fox Den. Whoever got that, you're one lucky kit. Taz67 Invader, thanks for the 2. Best way to not buy sweets as a diabetic, donate. Yeah. Just J-Hip, thanks for the 2. For a $2 super chat, they will believe anything. By the way, subscribe over there at Just J Hip. He has some hilarious content. Max Lab, thanks for the 2. Hey, Megan and Tug, the judge has lost his mind. I just don't think he ever had a grasp on this case. He is completely wrong. And I just can't, I don't know what to say. Dwayne Rapp, it's not the first time we've seen a judge be wrong, though. I don't know why I'm so shocked. Dwayne Rapp, thanks for the 2. I heard Siri was a good lawyer. Just J Hip, thanks for the 10. I have been so busy cashing all those Hales gift cards. It's like a full-time job. There, that will give this ecosystem some content for tonight outside of their normal drivel. Yes, Just J Hip has been accused, by the way, of being on Jeremy Hales' payroll. They think we're all on Jeremy Hales' payroll. They can't fathom that this is just something that we do. Find a case we're interested in and cover it. And they just can't fathom that. Auntie Audie gifted 5 Megan Fox memberships. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Fox Den, all 5 of you. Wow, what a lot of memberships tonight. Linda Early, thanks for the 40. Just J Hip rocks. Sure does. And that was very generous of you, Linda. I appreciate that. Bonnie Heron, thanks for the 2. Say, send breadsticks. It drives the haters. I know, it makes them flop around on the floor in agony like vampires hit with holy water, except they're extremely fat. So fat vampires, like Bad looking vampires, not like the Hollywood kind. These are just extremely fat, ugly vampires that roll around on the floor in agony when you send breadsticks. It's great fun. Rage G, and they will complain about it for days. That's the best part. Rage G, thanks for the 2. Welcome back. Well, thank you. It's good to be back. Jada, thanks for the 5. So do courts not check out these financial statements and just assume no one lied? It sure appears that way. It sure appears that way, doesn't it? Of course, for what I just read, said that they are supposed to verify them. I don't know if they did. And I think Jeremy Hales has a major beef with this court for not doing that. Andre Lozier, thanks for the Canadian 2. Drifting like a pair of tumbleweeds with a grudge. Willie Smith, thanks for the 5. I'm sure he's concerned about going through all of this and having them appeal the verdict and have it overturned when they finally have to pay. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I just can't. I just don't understand. Just J-Hip, thanks for the 2. Bruce never gives me breadstick money. Rude. James Barron, thanks for the Aussie 5. It's mainly to avoid them being able to appeal any decision the judge makes. Well, yeah, but he's not taking into consideration that Jeremy Hales can appeal. He is prejudicing the plaintiff with this shit. And Jeremy Hales is going to have an appealable issue. And I think he already does. I think he has 2 good ones right now. Crazy Old Fart, thanks for the 5. I'm praying that the judge simply wants to make sure she has 0 grounds for appeal. Yeah, but again, by the same measure, by doing that, the judge is setting up appealable issues on the other side. Stupid. Buck Naked, thanks for the 5. They also said they were waiting for the amended filing before responding. Yep. Patriot for Life, Meemaw, thanks for the 2. I appreciate you. Slug Entertainment, thanks for the 2. Poor Grandma Megan, she waddle to the keyboard. That has been me lately, waddling. Patriot for Life, Meemaw, thanks for the 10. I'm headed to OC tomorrow to visit with some good, kind friends there. Not all are like the backwoods inbred nuts. Pray for a safe trip and visit. Yeah, you got it. And I hope you have safe travels, by the way. Wizzy Wheels, thanks for the 5. Nearly missed your comeback, Megan. It's good to have you both back. Well, it's good to be here. Jessica Kruger, thanks for the 5. This is 100% pure evidence of figgle tapping. Website coming soon. I know you know. Figgle tapping. Figgle tapping? Figgle tapping sounds hilarious. I just don't know what it means. Wizzy Wheels, thanks for the 5. If BBB and LMOP get away with this, would it not set a precedence for others to get away with similar in the future? Yes. And that's why this is such a problem. That's why. Kelly B, thanks for the 5. I'm behind, but funny how Jeremy said Felisa said she recorded all her and Deuce's phone calls, and she wants to give them for a price. No deals, LOL. Yeah, I don't know about any of that, but should be interesting. Robin Bray, thanks for the 5. Is there anything on any of their channels with them talking about not answering or showing? That should show the judge. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff, but I mean, look, Randy's in a really tough spot. A really tough spot because the judge has already told him he doesn't like the tit for tat stuff. He doesn't like being told, he doesn't like having 2 attorneys going back and forth with each other, and he doesn't like the aggressiveness, and he doesn't like the flying accusations back and forth. So Randy, who's the only one who listens, is trying, I'm sure he's trying to be careful. So now the judge has put him in this weird position where he can't really even fight for his client as hard as he should because he's trying not to anger this judge. This is all very bad. That's an appealable issue too. Frankly, that is an appealable issue also because here he is telling him not to respond to filings. You have to respond. It's his duty to respond. It's his duty to fight for his client. Wizzy Wheels, thanks for the 5. There would have been a huge stink kicked up if LMNOP was chased off her property like Jeremy and George have been. Yep. Jesse, thanks for the 5. Can't Randy just put it in a filing showing evidence of how they raised $56,000 for LMNOP, more than enough for a lawyer? Well, maybe he can now. I don't know if he can or not, but I hope so. Kelly B, thanks for the 2. Can't afford an attorney. How do you afford an expert? Yeah, I know. Yeah, she also said she needs an expert. It's like, if you can't pay for an attorney, where do you get the thousands of dollars for an expert? None of it makes any sense, which is why the judge should have seen that there was no good faith. Thomas Williams, thanks for the 10. Is the judge confused because of how it was filed, i.e. listing Jeremy as plaintiff and then claiming herself as plaintiff in the opening paragraph? No, I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't think he's confused. I think he's just unaware of what's going on for real. James Barron, thanks for the 5. Who helped Lynuts with the motion since Lynuts told the judge she didn't know much? Well, I think you can answer that question. Michelle Natal, thanks for the 2. Wasn't Ray Bone Crusher served when LP and JC were served? Well, he was served by email and he verified that he got it. But he hasn't been served in person, so I don't know if it counts or not. Dan Davis, member for 3 months. Yes, Megan, that means blood pressure is too low. I was over-medicated and the same thing was happening. Yeah, I'll have to ask the doctor about it. Carrie Larkin, Megan, sounds to me like you're on the wrong prescription. Talk to your doctor. Tell him how it makes you feel. Don't mess with what you're taking now. Yeah, I'll make sure I mention it. Denise Sells, thanks for the 2. Megan, try taking me medication at night. Oh. Huh. That's an interesting idea. That's not a bad idea. Starchasm, thanks for the 10. My doctor told me to take my blood pressure 1 time a day, and if my blood pressure is under 105/60, do not take it, or you need a new med. I have to change to, I can't read that, benzapril something to level me out. Ask the doctor. Yeah, I will. I promise. Mavia, thanks for the 5. Little, have you seen Megan? There's nothing little about her. Even her smarts are medium at best. Medium smart, medium fat. It's all good. Please don't change your medication. S Shine, thanks for the 2. Please don't change your medication without talking to your doctor. I don't want to see you have a stroke. That's how I lost my mom 2 years ago. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't worry. I won't. I'll talk to the doctor. And that's good advice, by the way. Always talk to your doctor before changing medication. Always good advice. Buck Naked, thanks for the 2, just because Mackenzie Lee won't donate. Dwayne Rapp gifted 5 Megan Fox memberships. Welcome to the Fox Den, all of you. I hope you enjoy it in here. Ellie Fant, thanks for the 5. I'm still waiting to be paid, including back pay. It's going to be a long wait, Ellie. SF member for 5 months. Welcome back. Megan, you were missed last week. I saw your new toy you got for your birthday. What brand is it? Been looking for myself. Yeah, I got a Shark 2-in-1 vacuum mop robot. It's amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it. Chance NP, Jody Chow, thanks for the 10. Megan, do you think you're holding your breath when you squat? Yeah, I read this one, and I am going to remember that. Thank you so much for the super chat. Bill Jarzemba, thanks for the 2. To help with being unsubsidized. Starchasm FF, thanks for the 20. Take 2. My doctor told me to take my BP once a day, and if my BP is under 105, do not take it. Oh, I think I read this one already. The Melrose 1970, thanks for the 5. Laughter is the best medicine. Did Tug get the snippet? Charming the Prince? I don't know. We'll have to ask him tomorrow. Ellie Fant, thanks for the 5. We know. The Speed Queen takes your breath away. I do love the Speed Queen. It's still working really well. My clothes smell really good, and I have no problems. Janice Wingfield, I starred this because I wanted to respond to it. It says, while I'm not a Ricada fan, I don't begrudge Megan for being one. She can do what she wants and do what I want her to. Yes, I appreciate that, Janice. Thank you. And also, I hope that those of you out there know, and he addressed this on the show the other night, I'm not a fan of what he has done. I'm not a fan of the choices that he's made in any way. And I yell at him all the time. In fact, I believe I have several clips of him saying I bitch him out constantly. And I do. That's true. And you need friends like that in your life who can speak truth to you and say, you're really fucking up your life right now. And one of the reasons why, well, and I'm just not like this. I don't turn my back on my friends. I didn't walk away was because who's going to tell him that then? If everybody turns on you and everyone decides to just dump on you instead of try to speak truth to you privately, and they just decide they're going to go make money on you and dump on you publicly, who is left to talk sense into you? And I'm not saying that I have that ability, but I do worry about that. And also, and this should be said, this should definitely be said. Nick Rekieta is a guy who helped my channel. He helped me. He was very kind to me. He was very good to me. And when someone does me a good turn, I will not repay that with nastiness. And I think the basic good thing to do is to hope for the best, to speak truth when it's needed to my friend, and and to continue hoping that he'll recover his life and get back to work, because he's a great streamer. When he's at his best, he's very, very good. There's very few who are better than him. And I want to see that continue. And I want to see him put his life back together. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I also think that everybody, in his situation deserves a second chance. He's a first-time offender. And I absolutely would have written that letter for any one of my friends who asked me to, in the same situation. And I have done it before in the past. And that's just who I am. That's just how I am. And I was very happy that he that he told people finally, because I don't talk about our private conversations. People are always like saying things to me like, oh, you're an enabler and you're sweeping up for him and all of this stuff. And it's like, well, you don't know what my private conversations with him are like, and I'm not going to tell you because they're private. And if he wanted to tell you, he could tell you. And he did. The other night, he was like, she screamed at me for a year. It's true. That's all true. I did. And I continue to do that. I will continue to do that. Chance NP Jody Cha, thanks for the 5. Sarah Boone made a poster to get a pro bono attorney, and she got one. Not that it helped. Crafty Mom, thanks for the 5. Won't this wreck the judge's career by catering to the defendants? Love you and tug. Well, I don't know about wreck his career. Probably not. Judges do a lot of terrible things. Judges, and it often goes unnoticed. In this case, he should be careful because it's in the public eye. And if he doesn't want to be known as a unfair judge, he's the one who doesn't want to be known as the sanctioning judge. I think it's more important to be known as a fair judge. I don't think the public looks on a judge who issues sanctions as a problem, but the public certainly does not want to see a judge being biased. Does not want to see a judge ignoring what is so obvious. Slug, by the way, Slug says, Megan is someone I trust with my personal phone number, not a Google Voice number, so I don't doubt she's a good person. You know what, Slug? If you needed me to write you a letter to a judge because you were facing jail, I'd do it because you've done some nice things that I witnessed. And you have some good qualities. And I would be happy to write a letter asking a judge for mercy for you. Not that you need it, but if you did, I would. And I hope to God that if I should ever find myself in that position, and anybody could find themselves in a position where, you're in trouble with the law and you didn't mean to be, and you made some bad decisions, I would hope that if I were in that situation, I would have friends who would offer to write me a letter. I hope to God. And I think it's really sad that somebody who had so many so-called friends, so many so-called supporters, ended up having nobody to speak for him. I wasn't going to let that happen. Absolutely not. And maybe, it won't go well. And I'll have to endure people saying, "Oh, was it worth it? Did your stupid letter didn't do any good?" Well, but I tried, and that's all I can do. That's all I can do. I've had family and friends with addiction problems and substance abuse problems and other problems, and I've always wished them well, and I've always tried to help as much as I could, and that's what I would do. That's what I do. All right, let's see. Won't this where was I? Oh, Melanie Couture, thanks for the 2. Judge is one of the good old boys. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. SF, thanks for the 5. Not that it's a valid reason, but maybe the judge wants to deal with a competent lawyer instead of BBB or LMNOP. I'm sure he does. And I don't begrudge them a lawyer, but Listen, they have every right to get a lawyer, but they need to pay for it. They are lying about so much of this stuff. They're lying about their income. I do not think they qualify as indigent. Not with $65,000 sitting out there in their name for them that they raised over like a few months. It's crazy. It's actually more than that, because who knows how much David the donor gave. Dream Angel Core, thanks for the Canadian 7. This judge is not just bending backwards. He's doing a whole gymnastics routine of backflips. Yep. Allie, thanks for the Aussie $2.99. So without seeing her income, she's indigent. Right. There's no income report. She didn't report her flea market income. JM Benton, thanks for the 2. Appreciate that. Rach G, thanks for the 5. I'm so confused. He's doing this for the second case where BBB is a defendant, or is he trying to find an attorney for both cases? Okay, just the second case, because she didn't enter into it. Nobody entered on her behalf. So Bruce was never her attorney in the second case, and she just failed to respond. So yeah, just the second one. Mavia, thanks for the 10. So I know we're all full of vim and vigor, but why is Randy not filing on all of these apparently really obvious issues? Is it overreacting, or is Randy dropping the ball? I don't think he's dropping the ball. I think he is balancing a very difficult juggling act. He's got a judge who has already fined him $4,000 for filing what the judge called frivolous motions, which we don't agree were frivolous. And he didn't agree were frivolous, but that's what the judge decided. So he's already been sanctioned $4,000. So he has to weigh very carefully what he puts into this court from now on, because that judge has already made him get out his checkbook and write for a $4,000 check. So if you've got to see the pickle that he's in. It's not fair. What the judge has done is not fair. And if you ask me, he's crossing into disqualification territory. He is crossing into writ of prohibition category. He's getting there. K-Matt Red Queen, thanks for the 10. Think it's time to get Randy to file Forrest a new judge, as this one has crossed over as biased now with this judgment. Using slush funds and showing preferential treatment, I want a new judge. Yep, that's how I'm feeling too. This is nuts. SF, thanks for the 5. He isn't the site judge. How could he even give money being a magistrate? Well, I'm assuming, based on what I've read, that there is they have to go through a process to have the money approved to be given to a lawyer to help this so-called indigent client. And I'm sure that they'll go through that. I don't know. I guess he said there may be bench money. He didn't say that he was promising it. He just said there may be. So, I don't know. Carol Welch, thanks for the 2. Are you sure the judge wrote this? Yes, I'm sure it came right off the docket. Linda Allen, thanks for the 5. I can't wait for the judge to get a taste of LP and JC in person. Yeah, I know. Dream Angel Core, thanks for the Canadian $27.99. The judge is now using taxpayer funds to pay for a lawyer. Well, no. The funds come from the bar. So they're bar fees, like the fees that lawyers pay to the bar and also to the courts for like sanctions. So Randy's money could actually go to a lawyer to fight him. This judge is not doing a gymnastics routine of backflips. He's putting on a full hour theater show. Randy needs to nip this in the bud. Well, there's only so much he can do, and I don't know what all of that entails, but I'm sure we will find out. Lily Smith, thanks for the 5. Maybe he doesn't want to have to deal with all the letters LMNOP will send him if they have no lawyer. Maybe. Colleen McVeigh, thanks for the 10. Judge is showing prejudicial behavior. Keep up the good work. I agree with you, Colleen. Lilith, thanks for the 5. Can't Randy file to get this judge removed just like he did for Judge Grudge? Yes, he can, but I don't know if he should or if he will. And I can't answer that question. That's something that he'll have to weigh with his client. Just J Hip, thanks for the 10. I want to meet the new lawyer looking to team up with Bruce, Vomit, Lickman, Fleabags, Bone Crusher, and the rest of this all-star cast of lovable characters. Sounds like an interesting individual. Yeah. Cakes, thanks for the 2. I feel an op-ed coming. Oh, and J Hip, by the way, one of the arguments that that Bruce has been making and LMNOP is making is that no lawyer wants to be on YouTube, and that's why she can't get a lawyer. Oh, I beg to disagree. That's ridiculous. That's another thing that David Gingras was saying in the Laura Owens case. However, does anybody here remember Corey, the lawyer that Laura Owens had before David Gingras? I mean, we spent one live stream, gently mocking his posture in court and some of the stupid things he said. Because, defending a client like her was awful for any attorney. However, Corey quickly realized what he was dealing with, and he quickly got out of the case, and he quickly went to the court and had to file a motion of candor to the court to say, I didn't know that I was basically lying to the court because my client lied to me. So Corey was a lawyer in that case that everybody praised to the high heavens for being, a good lawyer. And he was defending Laura Owens. Nobody was mocking him other than we had like a couple of jokes on one live stream on one court thing that we saw. Nothing, no big deal. But they are pretending like any lawyer that enters this case is going to face an onslaught of YouTube mockery, which, by the way, if they did, who cares? This is America. But that's not true. If she hired herself a lawyer like David Helm, for instance, you don't see anybody making fun of David Helm's attorney, do you? I don't even know his name. I can't even remember it because his filing was very professional and boring and normal. And we don't have anything to say about it because it's very normal. And in fact, if Lynette Preston wanted this case to stop being talked about, she would hire a boring, normal, professional attorney that would act like a boring, normal, professional attorney, like David Helm's lawyer or Randy Shockett, and would file motions that weren't crazy and full of polymop and all kinds of other nonsense. And yeah, there are tons of lawyers who want to be on YouTube, Lilith. Exactly, Lilith. Every lawyer wants to be on YouTube. Don't tell me stories that lawyers don't want to be on YouTube. Of course they do. And the idea, though, that any lawyer that enters this case is going to be made a mockery of is garbage. A good, professional, ethical attorney would have us all saying, thank God that this person, this normal attorney, joined the case. Oh, yeah, the Ohio lawyer. That's right, Sean, potentially criminal. Nobody said anything about him. He acted professionally. He represented Lynette and John. Do you see any of us making fun of Sean for doing that? No. We laughed a little bit at the beginning, like, oh my God, I can't believe he's getting involved in this. I know Sean, but he's been very professional. He will not talk about any of this. He will not discuss it online. That is a professional attorney. And notice, Sean has kept himself completely out of this story because there's nothing to say. He went in, he did his job, he defended his clients, he left. Period. So the idea that this is somehow, this really toxic place for any attorney, she can't find an attorney because YouTube is so mean, it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We've already talked about her other attorneys. She's had another attorney nobody made fun of. Cakes, thanks for the 2. I feel an op-ed coming. Just one person's opinion, thanks for the 5. Wait, maybe Lynette actually meant she was indigenous. Did she claim at one time to be Native American? I think she did. I think that's true. She claimed to be a lot of things. She claimed to be like all different races when people were accusing her of being racist because she used the N-word to describe George. Lily Smith, thanks for the 2. You think he talked to Judge Grudge? No, I don't think he talked to another judge. I just think that he is not seeing this for what it is. Iowa Gal member for a month. Love you being back and being a member. Thank you for being a member, and I'm glad to be back too. M-Spire, member for 6 months. When we think this case can't get crazier. I know, it just gets worse and worse. Lily Smith, thanks for the 2. Jeremy should report to IRS and SSA. I don't know if that would help him. Coyote Bait, thanks for the 5. Please keep me in your thoughts and prayers. I got my heart surgery date today to repair aneurysm, May 7th. I'm scared. Coyote Bait, I was thinking of this the other day, actually. I was thinking about being a mom and trying to raise my children, and what is the best advice that I can give to my children, or that I can show them, right? And because life is full of so much anxiety and stress and worry, and children are scared of a lot of things all the time. And I realize all people are scared of a lot of things all the time, including me. And I was really, I don't know why I was thinking about this, just challenges my kids have. And I was just thinking to myself, the most repeated phrase in the Bible is, be not afraid. Do not fear. Let not your heart be troubled. Do not be afraid. Jesus said it multiple times. Angels say it all the time. In the Bible, you can look it up. The most repeated phrase is, do not be afraid. And interestingly enough, in the other major religions of earth besides Christianity, that same concept is also repeated, especially in the Hindu religion. So if you look at their statues, their statues, and they have their hands are their thumb and first finger are touching, with the 3 fingers on the outside standing up. And that hand signal, according to the Hindu tradition, means don't be afraid. So I think that's important. I think it's important. I think it means something, and that we should take it to heart and try to live without fear. Because whatever is coming, it can't be nothing. Because there's no such thing as nothing out of something. There is always something. So I'm trying to be an example to my kids to live without fear and stop being afraid of small things or even big things. Just live without fear. And I think we would all be happier if we could let go of that fear and do not be afraid. So try to keep that in mind. There is nothing to fear. It will be okay. Somebody said something the other day. It was, right. One of my kids struggles with fear of death. And my aunt was talking to her, and she was so funny. She goes, well, here's the thing. If you die, we'll all miss you. We'll all miss you. But, it is what it is. I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, at some point you have to face it. We're all going to die. And we're all going to miss each other, and we'll miss one another, and we miss everybody who goes before us. But we're all going to the same place. So it'll be okay. One way or the other. Either way, it's going to be okay. Bridget Clement, member for a month. Can't wait for Pepper to be a big sis. It will help, Jeremy. Yeah. Won't that be cute? James Aaron Smith, thanks for the Canadian 5. So if the courts finds out about lies on indigent status and the case is dismissed, Jeremy wins and it clears his name and can be used in case 2. I don't know about if it can be used in case 2. Well, this is case 2. So you mean used in case 1? Maybe, because she's filed indigent in both cases. So yes, it could affect both. Yeah. Bridget Clement, thanks for the 2. Can't wait for little Pepper to be a big sis. Just J Hip, thanks for the 5. I will write you a letter, Megan. Just don't ask Shizzy to write one unless Yamaha Banker reads it. Even so, that's still risky. Yeah, I don't. If I need a letter written to the court, I probably wouldn't ask Shizzy to do it. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I would. He'd do it. Dan Davis, thanks for the 2. Judge Grudge 2.0. God, I hope not. Slug Entertainment, thanks for the 2. Do they accept letters in crayon? No, Slug. Elephant, thanks for the 5. I'd write you a letter in large font so you could read it. Oh, I love it when the chat roasts me. Coyote Bait, thanks for the 5. Will you become my proxy mom? Well, apparently I am the internet's mom. So yes, I will be your proxy mom. I can give you mom advice at any time. I'm pretty good at it. I don't know if my advice always works out, but I will give it. I'm pretty good at giving it. All right, I'm checking Venmo, and Ellie says, thanks for the 10, by the way, Ellie. We know the speed queen takes your breath away. Here, have some demonic pizza money. I appreciate that, Ellie. And let's look at Cash App just to make sure. And then I will go to Rumble. Slug, Megan, should I offer women cheese as a form of flirting? Okay, I'm going to need more context for this. Like, in what scenario would you be offering cheese? You know, like just walking up to a woman on the street and offering her cheese, I don't recommend. That seems like a psychotic thing to do. But if you're, at a bar or something, or a restaurant, or, a bar with food, and you order a cheese platter and offer it to a woman, that's a great idea. So the context is going to matter. Just don't walk up to someone on the street though and hand them some cheese. That's going to get you arrested. Okay. So, all right, let me check Rumble. How you doing over there, Rumble? Oh, PR Moreover on Rumble says, Nick Rekieta was the one who turned me on to Megan. His personal life does not affect my love for his show. I wish him and his family all the best, and I'm looking forward to all the great content that he puts out. I agree. His personal stuff is not, it's not, the personal stuff does not affect me. It affects his family. And for sure, I've talked to him about it and my opinions on it. But yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with whether or not we should hope that he gets better or that he becomes successful again. He has a family to support, and whatever's going on with their family and that dynamic is their business, and not mine or anybody else's. So we should all hope that each other does well and gets well. All right, I'm going to get out of here. You guys go tell MG Law and all the others, hello, whoever's over there. Be good. We're running a little early, so I'll play you a song on the way out. Which one shall I play? Let's see. I don't feel like playing the Judge one. Which one should I play? I feel like something that might make us laugh would be a good idea. I got it. Perfect. All right, guys. I am going to leave you with this little ditty. See you.
Saw a fox in the courthouse steps, twisting and turning without regrets, with downward dogs and feline ploys, distracting me from ecosystem joys. No more yoga under legal skies. No more poses that mystify. Keep your namaste far away. I'm here to win, not watch you sway. Position she bends, a warrior pose that never ends. I plead the case with weary eye. She shifts the tree and I lose the prize. Sway. In the glow of YouTube, she salutes the sun. But courtrooms shouldn't be a place for fun. Clarity lost in her serene haze. My objections echo in a daze.